Hey everybody, I'm the Ranting Monkey, and today me and Scribe are here to talk about movies, because I'm bored as fuck. Say hi,
I'm
Scribe.
sorry. Hi, Scribe.
We had discussed doing this before, and it seemed like a good thing to talk about.
Yeah, it's
So,
getting to be that time of the year again with all the movies are going to start coming out, or at least it seems as though the movie season is being pushed up more and more as the years go on. It seems as though because we get big movies like Logan coming out in March, and
right,
usually
yeah.
it's yeah usually I mean January is usually the dump month for movies that they just have to get out because of contractual obligations they don't expect to do well, but it's usually not until April or May when usually start seeing the big stuff. But now it's like, okay, I'm going to see Logan in March. Okay,
Do you remember, you're what, 37, right?
I am. Yes.
When you were a kid, do you remember this happening where there was a schedule for all these movies coming out?
Um, I knew it existed because, well, I've been a movie freak since I was very young. And I worked at a video store in between high school and college, and I
Hmm.
learned a lot about and this is before DVD, and how the between theater to tape schedule worked then, because it never happened where you'd have like a day and date thing where a movie would come out and then it would be out on home video within 3 months. That just never happened. You had at least 6 months in between a movie getting out of the theaters and a movie coming out, usually a year. Because I remember Godzilla 1986 came out, right?
Oh, right, right.
And I couldn't go see it in the theater, so I went to the video store and I said, "Ooh, when are you going to get Godzilla 1986?" And they said, "Oh, probably about a year." I'm
Oh,
like, a
wow.
year, and they would release the movies for rental. So there was three tiers to this thing. First, the movie would come out. The movie would get out of the theaters. About a year to 9 months or so would pass. Then the videos would get released only to the rental entities,
Hmm.
and the rental entities would have anywhere from um, 6 to 8 months to rent the movies before they would go out to street for the regular consumer. And the price of those videotapes for the rental places was up to $100 to $150 a pop. And then they have
Right.
that.
I
Yeah.
remember back then when we first got our VCR looking
Mm-hmm.
at, what it would cost to buy a tape, and they were fucking outrageous.
Yes. Um, and so once they came out to street, then of course anybody and their brother could buy them, and the rental market started losing um, share of value on the tapes after that point. And then they could sell. Then they could sell their extras and all that kind of thing. So anyway, that's all a roundabout way of saying there's always been a schedule. It just wasn't as notable. It wasn't something that people tracked as much as they do now.
Well, I just don't remember. I remember a lot of big name movies when I was a kid. Things like Top Gun, Back
Mm-hmm.
to the Future. All of these were huge movies that you knew were coming out maybe a month in advance with the um, advertising blitz that they do for it.
Mm-hmm.
But nowadays, I mean, one, there's a dearth of movies. We don't have near as many movies released as we used to. Not by major studios. Um,
That's well, that could be true. I don't know if you say so. I mean,
well,
I
if
know
you
lots and lots of movies get released, not lots and lots of movies get advertised as much. I mean, if you go on to YouTube and just look up trailers, you
oh
get
yeah.
you get tons and tons of things. Some things that you'll never see in a theater near you, but they will have had a theatrical release.
Yeah, but I'm thinking more of along the lines of if you look back, for me, we talked about this the other day. The best time in movie history, and for me, it
Yes.
really was the '80s, because just so many great movies came out that would never ever be made today. Either they'd be
Oh, certainly.
too politically incorrect, or they wouldn't
Hmm.
have enough draw to them. And these were movies that did really well, cult classics, and just classics in general.
I think the mid to late 70s through the mid 80s, I think that decade worth of time was probably the last sort of modern golden age of cinema before things started getting sanitized after a fashion, or at least became far too compartmentalized.
Real quick,
Uh,
somebody in chat said something
oh,
I want to address. The only topic that is completely off limits here tonight is Star Wars, because that will be discussed Saturday.
Yes. Yeah. Well, that's my one of my chosen topics for Saturday because yeah, but I could do a whole I could do a whole show on Star Wars. Oh man.
Yeah, I want to save that one. There's so many other
Yeah.
videos or movies we can talk about.
Oh yes.
Okay, all-time favorite movie.
Oh boy. Well,
You can have a
the
couple from different
oh
genres if you
yeah,
like.
there's well, so first and foremost, The Hunt for Red October.
Mm,
In so many ways, and I know it's cheese, but in so many ways, that movie, it as a kid, it had the almost perfect mix of action, political intrigue, and a lot of things where it just didn't treat the audience like an idiot.
right, yeah.
At least to me, and there's I appreciate a movie that understands its audience can figure out point A to point B. The performances were amazing. I mean, yeah, okay, a Scotsman playing a Russian sub captain. Well, Sean Connery can do anything, but that part aside, Alec Baldwin was never more realistic than in that movie. James Earl Jones, for the couple of scenes he was in, sold the thing.
Oh yeah.
Jeffrey Jones as the sub engineer guy. I mean, everybody's part was needed and necessary for that thing. And there's so many great moments. There's only one major plot flaw because I know the book pretty well. But aside from that, and the submarine action, the special effects at the time, that was all done with models and things, and a little bit of composite work here and there that looks kind of bad these days. But man, it's like a full package to me. And even though it's in the '90s sort of action genre kind of deal, and it's a little over the top in places, obviously. Yeah, I don't know. I'd be surprised if a movie could be made like that today.
Oh, thank you so much.
Oh, what happened? Somebody give you money?
Just got a donation.
I can't see the video. Why can't I see the video? Oh, there it is. Now suddenly it pops up.
My all-time favorite movie is An Officer and a Gentleman.
Interesting.
I fucking love that movie. When I was a kid, it's one of those videos that we rented and I had taped myself, and I had Footloose followed by An Officer and a Gentleman, and literally every day after school I would watch both of those movies in their entirety. I still love both of them, but An Officer and a Gentleman has just always been. Louis Gossett Jr. in that movie was fucking awesome.
Yeah.
And that goes back. It goes back to a time where boot camp was fucking boot camp. They would kick your ass.
Yes.
And you don't see it anymore. And I just, the whole emotional pull of that movie, so well done. So well done. And of course, the song from it, God, now I can't even think of the name. I'm gonna have to sing it, which is not happening on live.
Oh, come on. So you just got a $10 tip. You can sing.
No, I can't. I actually don't sing too bad, but I'm not singing into my,
all right, that's fine.
my mic. But yeah, that is my all-time favorite movie. Now I have a ton of movies I can watch over and over again. Somebody mentioned Spaceballs earlier.
Yeah.
Fucking love Mel Brooks.
When you said Louis Gossett Jr., the first thing I think of is Iron Eagle.
Oh, I loved Iron Eagle. That movie is so cheesy.
Oh, it's so bad. It's so the movies like that I'd love to watch. Iron Eagle.
Oh,
Toy Soldiers, if you remember Toy Soldiers.
Yes.
Oh God. Obviously Red Dawn.
The original Red Dawn.
Yeah, the original Red Dawn, not the. There's a crazy story behind the remake if you don't know it, but yeah, all those sort of like teenagers as heroes things. I always. The Brat Pack kind of movies, that kind of generation. There's just something about those that just stick in your heart, like a Solar Babies. You remember Solar Babies?
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Oh God, yeah.
Yeah. I
mean, we are going back.
Oh no, yeah, we are. I mean, this is the things that Explorers. I loved Explorers, like the Goonies, sci-fi Goonies. Oh, it's so good.
I am not singing even for money.
Oh,
but thank you for the donation.
Oh man. So
Twinkle, twinkle, little star.
Let's go genre a little bit, because if you say what's your favorite movie, I could go on forever and ever and ever. So Star Wars aside, favorite sci-fi movie, or even if it's a guilty pleasure sci-fi movie.
Oh God, what's the name of the one Jeff Bridges did? Starman.
Star of John Carpenter, very good, and a real departure for John Carpenter because he usually does horror. But yeah, Starman was a good one.
And it doesn't. It's not what you would think of with sci-fi, but he is.
Hmm.
It, it's absolutely sci-fi. But I just love that movie, and it's actually one me and my dad used to watch together whenever it would be on.
Hmm.
I also, what was the one Louis Gossett Jr. was in where he was an alien?
Oh, Enemy Mine.
Yes, yes, another excellent movie.
Yes, Enemy. Yeah, him and of course I can't remember Quaid, Dennis Quaid.
Yes, yeah, there you
Yeah,
go.
Enemy Mine, and I always got Enemy Mine and The Last Starfighter kind of mixed up because Louis Gossett Jr.'s alien looked a lot like the alien in Enemy Mine. So I always kind of melded those two movies in my mind when I was a kid.
And I did like The Last Starfighter too.
Yeah, the last Starfighter is along in those same lines as like Toy Soldiers and Iron Eagle and that kind of thing. It was really weird too because I remember God, who was cameo in that movie was Will Wheaton. He was in there for like 5 seconds. I think it was his first movie, and he was in the background of that. And that was always kind of a weird trivia question I had in my head. But I keep hearing they're going to remake that.
Really?
Yeah. Actually,
Stop
let's hold.
remaking shit.
Yeah, let's hold off on talking remake stuff for now because we could go on for that forever. Okay, so sci-fi. God, there are so many sci-fi movies. I mean, they're the classics like Alien, of course, and that kind of thing. But I guess if I can veering away from the road more traveled, um, Ice Pirates.
Oh my God, that was a great movie actually.
That is,
It was cheese as fuck.
yeah. When I think of like, if you want to buckle your swash, you can't get much more sci-fi swashbuckle than Ice Pirates. I mean, and
Yeah.
the thing is, it doesn't take itself seriously, which I think is to its credit. But man, there's just so much. God, there's so much cheese in that. Robert Urich, God, was Hunt? No, he wasn't Hunter. What? God, what would he? What?
He was oh God.
What was his detective show? Shit.
Oh, wasn't it with him and his wife, right?
I have to look it up.
My mom used to love that.
That's
Spencer? Spencer for Hire?
Spencer for Hire. Yes. God.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Spencer for Hire and Mike Hammer. Oh God. Anyway, Stacy Keach aside. Okay. Well,
Somebody brought up
no, yeah.
I want to touch on this. Somebody brought up the original Star Trek movie. That movie sucks so much ass
Yeah.
plot wise. Visually, it is gorgeous.
Oh yeah, wasn't Doug? I think Douglas Trumbull did some or all of the effects on that. He was the guy that did Silent Running with Bruce
Yeah.
Stern way back then. He also worked on some of the Star Wars stuff, or at least he worked at ILM. Yeah,
Plot wise, the Star Trek the motion picture could have been about half an hour long.
the one thing I liked about it, the one concept that always stuck in my mind was V'ger. Just the idea of the satellite returning home kind of thing. That aspect of the plot I always loved. Everything else about that movie was just garbage. Yeah.
Yeah, I love the whole Voyager thing. That was cool, but they could have done that in half an hour.
Exactly, or they could have done it in a much more interesting and better way. It's of course it's been the sort of curse of the Star Trek movies that only the even numbered ones are any good.
You know, I don't even like Wrath of Khan much. I love the end of it.
Yes,
but most of that movie was shit.
Yeah, Wrath of Khan I think is overrated just because of the camp value of the last 20-25 minutes.
Yep, absolutely. It was much better than the first movie, but
by far.
That was such a low bar to hit.
Yeah.
And anyway, I didn't mean to get you off topic.
No,
there.
it's okay. Crime movies.
Ooh.
It can be caper, can be, white collar. I mean, whatever you classify as crime. There's a lot of things that can be called crime now.
That's a hard one. Man, you go first. I'm gonna have to think on this.
Well, as far as like, if I had to split up like crime movies, Reservoir Dogs is up there.
I've never seen it. I need to, but I'm not
so good. As far as caper movies, there is none better, as far as I'm concerned, than Sneakers.
Oh yes, Sneakers was so fucking good.
It's still good. It is so good. I mean, the cast alone. You got Sidney Poitier. You got Robert Redford. You got River Phoenix before he died. You got Mary
Mhm.
McDonnell. You got Dan Aykroyd. I mean, and Ben Kingsley. I mean, it's amazing. It's like how did this movie get made? And its premise and everything else at the time was just the music. It's just like it's another one of those perfect movies. It's right up there in my book is with Hunt for Red October. It's just like so just perfect.
If you guys haven't seen that movie, look it up. Sneakers was fucking awesome.
Oh, it's so good. I mean, yeah, the technology is obviously dated and all that stuff, and some of the concepts are out there, but man, the writing was just, oh, it's so good.
That's one of those movies that I had never heard of, and we went to the video store and it was there, and we watched it, and it's become one of my favorites.
Hmm. I saw it in the theater, I think, with my dad when it came out. Oh man, it's such a good flick. Yeah, so crime flicks.
Yeah, see, I'm having trouble placing any that I would
Mm.
that I guess for me it would actually be more of a comedy one, like 48 Hours. I love.
Okay, sure.
Um, Eddie Murphy's first movies, except for Best Defense, were actually pretty good.
Yes, he was pretty fresh at that time. I, well, I mean, someone, well, we could go on Eddie Murphy for a while, but he's
You
kind of
got
hit or
real
miss.
quiet there.
Am I?
No, you're better now.
Okay, sorry. I drifted away from my mic a little bit. I don't know what the range is on this. I'm basically eating it right now, so I don't know if I'm too loud or not loud enough.
Guys, how does he sound? He sounds good to me.
Yeah, give me some feedback because this is the I'm using my regular mic, and when I use
Oh
it to
fuck yeah, Die Hard, excellent crime movie.
oh yes, Die Hard 1. God, that's just a
You know, I
classic.
still love two. I know it's just the same movie in an airport, but I
Yeah.
fucking love that movie.
Yeah, I you know what? I appreciate 3 because the chemistry between him and Samuel L. Jackson was just so fun.
See, I liked three, but to me, it's not Die Hard because you don't have Al.
Hmm. Oh, I got to step away for just a second. 1 second.
Okay, yeah. Okay, I knew he was going. He's got to go get his dinner, so we're gonna leave him alone for just a moment. How did everybody hear him? Okay, I couldn't. Okay, somebody said he sounds good. Oh wow, crime movies. Die Hard definitely is a good one. I didn't like three there. Samuel L. Jackson had a great character in it. I loved them bringing in Simon as Hans's brother. That was a nice twist on it. Gabriel Hughes, there you go. Um, you guys, what's your favorite crime movie? This is hard to do when you're doing it by yourself. I said your name, Gabriel. Okay. While he's gone, just another plug for Saturday, 8 o'clock. We will be here with Satsu. The premise for that show is going to be each of us bring 3 items we're going to talk about. One of
Okay,
them
I'm
will be
back.
Star Wars. Cool. I was just plugging our show again because I ran out of stuff to talk about by
Oh, sure.
myself.
I was just thinking when I said Samuel L. Jackson and crime movies. I think one of the more underrated ones, and I hope you've seen it, The Negotiator.
Oh my, I fucking love that movie. That's
That
one of
is,
the ones I
yeah,
saw that as soon as I saw it, I made my wife watch it because it was so good.
it is. I mean, it's underrated. Nobody really talks about it anymore. But man, I mean, Kevin Spacey. I think he was just coming off of Seven, but that was like his breakout thing when he was on Seven, and
Right.
but yeah, him and Samuel L. Jackson, that whole thing, and oh god, what a loss. J.T. Walsh, one of the best character actors on the planet. I think that was his last movie before he died. Maybe it was Pleasantville. If you don't know who J.T. Walsh is, as soon as you see him, if you've seen movies from anywhere in the '90s or '80s or stuff, you'll know him when you see him. Man, God, what a great actor and what a loss to have died so young,
You know,
relatively.
I go back every once in a while. I was watching Married with Children the other day, and
Hmm.
what the hell is his name? His last name's Cobb. Um,
Oh, not Leroy Cobb. No,
Big
that
goofy looking motherfucker, and he was in
Cobb.
'80s movies all the time.
Cobb.
What the
I gotta
hell is
look it
his?
up.
Anyway, he's one of those ones that if you see him, you know who he is. And he was just in all kinds of stuff, but he never had like a major role.
Lee J. Cobb.
I don't think so. He was in the
Okay.
movie. Oh God, Apocalypse Now. No, shit. Randall
Uh,
Cobb, Randall Tex Cobb. That's his name.
Randall.
He was in Ace Ventura. He's the guy at the beginning that gets the package from Ace.
Oh, that guy. Yeah, he always plays like the big dumb heavy.
Yeah, because that's what he looks like.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, yeah, I know him. Yeah, I know
Yeah,
him.
but he's
I
another
know.
one that was. I mean, he never had his own movie, but he was in like everything.
Oh yeah, man, there are character actors. I mean, of course, I can't name them all, but I mean, there's just these familiar faces that are everywhere. That probably were in more movies than most major stars, just because they take anything.
Yeah, and
That
I
was
don't see that much anymore.
that was one of the things I saw. I heard an interview with Kevin Bacon one time, and I'm pretty sure he still abides by this, but he says he takes a role because it's interesting, not because it's a big role. You know, because he's an actor and that's his job to work. And
Right? Yeah.
I always appreciate that perspective on it. It's like I'm not a starring actor, I'm an actor, you know, and so any roles large or small. And so that's why you see Kevin Bacon in so many things, and why the whole 6 degrees of Kevin Bacon thing became so easy to do sometimes. I can do Boris Karloff to Kevin Bacon in 2 steps.
Really?
Oh yeah.
We'll do it.
Uh, okay. Boris Karloff was in The Terror with Jack Nicholson back in like 1967 or something. And Jack Nicholson was in A Few Good Men with Kevin Bacon.
Oh, there you go. There's your crime movie. I'm gonna go with Chinatown.
Oh, well, if we want to talk classic noir, you can't get much better than The Third Man.
I haven't seen that one.
Oh, or anything Orson Welles, like Third Man and A Touch of Evil. Oh, God, I could go on forever about those things. Such a good man, so good.
Several people have brought up Blazing Saddles, and this is what I'm gonna say about Blazing Saddles. I love that movie.
Yes.
It absolutely could not be made today.
Nope.
But like most Mel Brooks movies, the end of it just sucks because it's like he runs out of ideas.
Yeah.
Them writing through movie theaters and stuff is just fucking ridiculous.
Yeah.
And not funny ridiculous, just like, oh God.
Yeah, Mel Brooks. Yeah, God, he had such a great run and then just kind of petered out. I think Spaceballs was like his swan song. I don't think anything he did. I mean, I could be mistaken.
Robin Hood Men in Tights.
Okay, yes, that squeaked by. Yes, it's not his best, but it is certainly memorable. Yeah.
For me, for those kind of movies, I do love Mel Brooks, but Airplane is the gold standard.
Oh God, the Zucker brothers, they had it.
Yeah.
They had it made. Those guys knew what they were doing. And the first Naked Gun movie.
Yes, but the problem is the one went off to make real movies and ended up making Ghost, and I think he must have been an integral part of it because everything since the first Naked Gun has been shit.
Yeah, and we've had now the run of things like Not Another Teen Movie and Meet the Spartans and those kind of scary movie. They're in that same bloodline of Airplane, but they're all, I don't know. There's just something about Airplane that maybe it's because it was sort of the first time you'd seen that. I mean, there's that in Kentucky Fried Movie, but that was more of like a vignette kind of movie.
You are the only other person I've ever known who knows the Kentucky Fried Movie.
Oh, well, Kentucky Fried Movie and Amazon Women on the Moon. Those two things go together like bread and butter.
The Kentucky Fried Movie has one of my favorite scenes ever. It was a parody of a air freshener commercial.
Oh yeah.
And I've had to explain it to everybody. I'm not explaining it to chat. Go look it up.
Yeah.
Go watch it because it's awesome. And I do love Not Another Teen Movie. That was great. But when you compare it to something like Airplane, Airplane, the best description I ever heard of it is the movie that should have offended everyone and offended nobody.
Yes. Yeah. I mean, and that was another movie that could not be made today. You want to talk about Blazing Saddles?
Oh, absolutely.
Nothing, almost nothing in that movie. None of the jokes would be anywhere near allowed today.
Somebody brought up Super Troopers. I have watched that and I don't think it's funny at all.
Really?
Really?
Oh man, it is a great, at least for me, it was always a great sit down and watch with your friends movie because it just cracks me up. It's the only good movie that Broken Lizard ever put out. It's not the best thing in the world, but it's just so absurd and out there and got so many memorable characters that and one-liners. I like it. The ending's a little but everything in between is pretty funny, I thought.
I might have to watch it again. Somebody said I have to be drunk. Maybe that's it. But maybe
it does help.
It also might have been that it was so built up to me. Everybody told me, you got to watch this. It's so funny. And I sat down. I'm like, I don't get it.
Yeah, something can be overhyped too much. It's true.
So we did what? Sci-fi and crime.
Action. Well, see, well, action. Well,
Well, we can do
okay.
action. Can be a different one because for me, action would be Raiders of the Lost Ark.
Oh, well, you can't get much better than that. I mean, that's God, and there's just they talk about they're trying to revive practical effects and everything, but there's just something about looking back to when they only could do practical effects
Mm-hmm.
that really shows the artistry. I think of Raiders of the Lost Ark. I think of The Thing. John Carpenter's The Thing probably has the best mechanical monster prosthetic creatures ever made. I watch it today. It still creeps me out and grosses me out. But yeah, Indiana Jones, man, what a throwback! And it's so good. Oh man.
Yeah. Carrie Ann, because you said it, will do horror next. If you guys
Oh,
haven't watched Carrie Ann, she plays banjo. She taught herself. Watch her channel when you're done with this.
oh yes, I've seen Carrie's videos before. Yeah.
She has a new one out today.
Oh,
But
okay.
going back to our action, did
Mhm.
you ever watch like King Solomon's Mine?
Oh God, a long time ago. I think I've seen it once.
There were actually two in that series. What the hell was his name? Alan something. It was a
Alan
cheap Indiana.
Quartermain.
Alan Quartermain. Thank
Yeah.
you.
Hmm.
Cheap Indiana Jones ripoff.
Yes.
But it has James Earl Jones as this huge moron who carries this giant sword, and that's just always stuck with me. It's the only thing I remember really about the movie, other than what was it? Richard Chamberlain played the lead.
Yes.
But yeah, I like movies like that are knockoffs that aren't absolutely horrible, but they're just cringy enough to keep me watching.
Like
And
anything Rod. Go ahead.
I don't see much of that anymore.
What, cheap knockoffs? So look at the
Yeah.
Asylum. Look at Roger Corman movies, dude.
Well, see, I don't
Mockbusters. Have you heard of Mockbusters?
know.
Okay, so it's a category of movie, and essentially it's like a movie will be coming out, some big budget super duper movie, and a company like the Asylum will do a knockoff movie that is of the same theme and even has a title that might be similar to the big movie.
Oh, nice.
um, and it'll be low budget. It'll be cheese as hell. Like when there was a Thor movie that came out around the same time that Thor did. Since Thor isn't a copyrighted character as an entity, just how he appears and everything, they
Hmm.
made a more traditional looking Thor sort of show up in modern day America thing, and it's a really bad movie. I mean, it's still done. It's probably not done to the quality that they used to do when you talk about a knockoff like King Solomon's Mines or something. But
Hmm.
but it's all direct to video. Yeah, when you get a chance, just look up Mockbuster, and you'll be just inundated with different things that they've done to um, try to take advantage of a big Hollywood release for the sake of getting something out quickly if people are really obsessed with the idea of it, if not the actual intellectual property.
See, I can respect that.
Oh yeah, it's very industrious.
There was a movie back, God, this had to be late '80s called Barbarians, and
I think I remember this. Yeah.
it was a great movie, but it was so bad. It was these two, they're twin brothers, juiced up like fuck, and it's set in this fantasy realm. They rescue this chick who has I think it was a ruby in her belly button. That's like the mat. It was so fucking cringe, but it's one that if I ever find it on DVD, I will buy it just because.
I always think when I think of like high fantasy cringe, I think of Beastmaster,
Oh yeah, yeah.
Mark Singer. But also when I think about like high fantasy reach exceeding its grasp, you can't get much better than Krull.
I've never watched it.
Oh man, it is D&D on film, and much better than the actual D&D movie. And
That
but
movie was so bad.
oh god, and it's you know what the weird thing is, its direct to video sequel was actually better than the first one. That's
It
not
would
saying
have to
much.
be.
It's not saying much, but it was better than the first one. But yeah, Kroll, you've got a cyclops, you've got a knight, you've got a princess in distress, you got a big giant spider, you got monsters, you got Liam Neeson in one of his earliest roles, I think, next to maybe Excalibur. It's amazing. It's just an amazing movie. It's fun to watch. It's like half sci-fi. It's like Conan and Princess Bride sort of mixed together.
Hmm. I will definitely have to check that one out. What about like Legend? Tom Cruise's
Oh
really
man,
early work.
yeah. Tim Curry is oh man, that movie.
That
It,
movie is gay.
it is. It's visually very cool to look at. As far as an overall movie, it's kind of like, if I want,
Yeah.
and because of the sort of dreamy sequence thing, my childhood brain always meshed that with Labyrinth quite often.
Yep. I was never. I know people love Labyrinth. I was never a big fan of that. Um, my wife loves it, and I have trouble watching it. Maybe it's the Muppets in it.
Yeah.
Little too goofy for me.
Sorry,
Uh,
I'm half eating while I'm talking, but
no, no, you're fine. So let's move on to horror.
oh boy,
Now, for me, the worst movie I ever saw, it was the original Nightmare on Elm Street, and it was
what?
because. Calm
You
down. Let
are
me
a
explain.
goddamn communist.
Let me explain. It was the first horror movie I ever watched, and God, what was I? Maybe 10 at the time, and it fucked me up bad. That
Yeah.
movie messed me up so bad. I didn't take a bath for almost a month because I was afraid my bath was going to open up and I was going to get sucked down. Now, again, this is all just because of the timing that I saw it, but because of all of that, to me, that will always be the best.
Okay.
There's other good movies out there. Don't get me wrong, but none have fucked me up like that.
Okay, I see what you mean. Okay, because I was like, it's the worst whenever I was like, oh, the worst as far as like effect on you. Okay, I see. Um, I saw Elm Street 3 before I saw Elm Street 1.
Oh, that's a
And
horrible way to see it.
well, I mean, as a kid, as at the age that I was, it fucked me up pretty much too. I mean, because I didn't have the kind of let's say mental repertoire of film at that point. So as far as
Hmm.
horror movies went, and I was seeing this like my parents didn't know I was seeing it. I was seeing it at some guy's house in my neighborhood, and we're all sitting around watching this. And it was the first time I ever saw like a naked lady on in a movie and all this other stuff. It had everything I could possibly want as a kid to just like freak me out and just completely push me over the top. So there's a special place in my heart for Elm Street 3, especially for the part where the kid becomes the wizard to fight Freddy in the dream, and
Oh
like
yeah.
because the whole there's a lot of really cool imagery in that the kid jumping off the top of the asylum building because he's being controlled by puppet strings made out of his tendons,
Yep.
and the lady being pulled into the TV screen. I mean, yeah, as a movie, I watch it now, just like, oh God. But those images, those set pieces have stuck with me my entire life.
3 was actually the first really big nightmare movie. It was the first mainstream one.
Yes.
And I still like it. I think it's a great movie. And after that, the series just went to shit.
Pretty much, yeah.
But yeah, I liked it. But horror wise, from the first one to the third, it's just such a change because it is so much more mainstream.
Yeah. Let me see. Horror. Well, I mean, everybody says Exorcist because, well, it is.
I'm
Um,
Exorcist never really bothered me. I
the crucifix to the vagina scene always still makes me cringe, just because it's so visceral, and there wasn't really, it's a special effect, but just seeing a little kid. I mean, she was a little kid at the time doing all this stuff was always just very
right.
disturbing to me.
And for me, one of the ones that actually most horror movies don't have much of an effect on me. I'm jaded, but Scream actually made me jump quite a bit.
Really?
And a movie like Scream fucks with me more than Nightmare on Elm Street or Chucky or any of that shit because it's real people. And
Okay.
I don't believe in monsters. I do believe in real people who will kill you.
Yeah.
So in that sense, it causes me more discomfort. By 2, it got so campy that it was just ridiculous. But I love the first Scream. I thought that was a great movie.
Yeah. One of the things that I mean, some people are moving back towards the atmospheric horror rather than the visual gore horror.
Right.
I'm not a big fan of Eli Roth in the horror realm. Like Hostel and that kind of stuff.
Oh, right. Yeah.
I mean, it is gross to watch, and it's torture porn kind of thing. But I always remember when I think about like the last, at least maybe on the edge of the end of sort of atmospheric horror, when John Carpenter did Village of the Damned,
Mm,
almost all of the yucky stuff was done off camera. You heard the person scream or you saw the aftermath or whatever it was, but there wasn't a lot of show. It was a lot of, letting your mind do a lot of the filling in the blanks, which is I think what good horror does in a lot of cases. I mean, yeah, there's the big reveal at the end, like an Exorcist, when you finally get to see the little girl all demoned up,
hmm.
but you have to earn that. You have to build up to it. And a lot of horror movies, at least lately it seems, don't work to earn the scares. They get the jump scares, they get the gore kind of thing. I mean, and so many movies they have these. I watched somebody talk about the Batman Superman movie and how, if you watch the trailer, you see all these sort of epic moments and shots and things and all this other stuff, but there's no build up to these. They just kind of appear. There's no earning of these moments, and so it's more just like a showcase of really neat shots rather than really memorable storylines or plot points or something.
I think DC has made such a bad decision with their whole comic book line. The way they've gone with it is just tragic.
So their animated side is superb. This is the thing. Marvel has failed in comparison to DC on the animated side.
Yeah.
The closest they got was Avengers: Earth's Mightiest Heroes. That series was really good. That cartoon series was really well. And then they ended that all of a sudden for some reason, and then moved on to a different one. But all of their efforts at animation have pretty much fallen flat, save for maybe a couple Spider-Man series here and there.
Hmm.
DC, man, they have just run with it. And I mean, Batman the animated series set the tone, and that was always the bar to jump. The Superman show never quite reached Batman levels in my book, but it did. I mean, comparatively to anything else, it did great. And the Justice League, the Young Justice, I mean, they've just been hitting it out of the park every time. Now, when they get to TV, DC also hits it out of the park, not because necessarily the quality, but just because they've really done their characters justice for the sake of making a campy comic book TV show. I've watched a little bit of The Flash. I watched a little bit of Arrow. They're not great. I mean, as far as like TV shows and plot goes, but if you're just looking for silly comic book fare, they're awesome. And they've connected all the TV shows together. They got a little TV universe going on. And of course, where DC fails, is the movies. They can't outrun Marvel. Marvel has and of course, Marvel is only now kind of getting into better TV with the Netflix series.
Right.
Because Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. I like Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. I mean, I've watched them all now. I think there's something too limiting now about network television versus doing it on something like Netflix. But
I've always wondered why DC and Marvel have never done better cartoon series, even as good as Batman the cartoon series was. We talked about Spider-Man the other day. Spider-Man had such a great early story arc that lasted for decades, that they could put into animated form. They wouldn't have to change hardly anything, just a little bit of filler dialogue, and they'd make excellent shows that people would watch. This is stuff people go out of their way to collect today. So it's always, I understand why in live action movies they have to condense so much, but they could do so much with animation and they just don't, and it pisses me off.
oh, sorry, go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to look for our next movie genre.
Oh, sure, go ahead.
Let's see. Comedy. Favorite comedy.
My favorite comedy. I'm not a very big comedy fan.
I find that hard to believe.
Well, let's see. God, comedy.
I'll give you mine.
Yeah, go ahead.
It's one most people probably have never heard of. It's called Crazy People.
Oh, Crazy People with Dudley Moore.
That movie was so fucking funny. For me, even better than something like Airplane, which I absolutely love. I own Airplane on not only DVD, but I still have my VHS of it. But for just all-out laughs throughout the whole thing without it being ridiculous, Crazy People is awesome. For those of you who don't know the story, Dudley Moore is an advertising agent who breaks up with his girlfriend and loses his mind and starts making ads that are actually true. What's the one? My favorite is Metamucil. If you don't use it, it helps you go to the toilet. If you don't use it, you'll get cancer and die. And some of the slogans they come up with are just so fucking funny.
I like the one for, I think it was Volvo, was something like, they're boxy, but good.
Boxy, but good. And then the final Sony, because white people are just too damn tall. Just excellent fucking movie.
The comedy that, okay, I was thinking about the comedy that keeps coming to mind that I keep referencing more probably than anything else. It's probably Half Baked.
I've only watched about half of that. I liked it, but for some reason, every time I watch that movie, I end up getting interrupted. There's the problem with like comedies. There's just so many and so many different subgenres of it. Because of course you have your satire ones, which again, Airplane is the bomb. But then you get it. I mean, there's a lot of smarter comedies too. It wasn't Network. There was a movie very much. Network was great.
Oh yeah.
But there was one just like it. Came out around the same time. Fuck, I'm not even gonna bring it up. It had Christopher Reeve in it.
Christopher Reeve?
Reeve, sorry.
Oh, Christopher Reeve.
Yeah.
When I think great Christopher Reeve movies, I think of obviously Superman 1 and Somewhere in Time. When I was working at the video store, if somebody came up to me and said, I need a date movie or I want a tearjerker, I always said Somewhere in Time. Christopher Reeve, Jane Seymour. It's, you know the story of occurrence at Owl Creek Bridge or an incident at Owl Creek Bridge?
I don't.
It's an Ambrose Bierce story. It's a short story. It's about takes place in the Civil War. A guy is about to be hung as I think a traitor or something off this bridge by some either Southern or Northern soldiers. It doesn't really matter. And as he's kicked off the bridge, the rope breaks. He falls into the river. He escapes as he's being shot at. He runs back home. He's about 2 seconds away from running into the arms of his lady love. And all of a sudden, that's when he actually gets hung, because everything that occurred between him being pushed off the bridge and actually hitting his neck breaking was all a dream.
Oh, gotcha. Okay.
It's sorry, spoiler alert. It is one of those sort of like yanks you straight out at your heartstrings kind of endings. And I won't give this one away, but Somewhere in Time has that same thing. And it's not an action movie. There's no like violence or anything, but it's just a pure sappy romance. And it's probably one of Christopher Reeve's best performances. And if anybody wants to see it, I mean, definitely see it with a date if you want to, start some fireworks or something. But otherwise, it's quiet, but it's a really interesting movie.
Christopher
Gutenberg's joined us.
Hack. What's up?
How you doing, bud?
God.
Pretty good. I called off work today just to hang out with you guys.
Sweet.
Aww. My favorite movies. My favorite Hitler movie is?
Dude, that is such a weird phrase.
Well, no. So Downfall. Have you seen this movie? The movie that the Hitler meme where he's like all angry and everybody puts their subtitles underneath it.
Oh yeah, the one that's in German.
Yeah,
the whole movie's in German, right?
Yes. The actual movie Downfall is superb. Do you know who plays Hitler in that?
I don't read subtitles, bro.
Oh, that's fine. But do you know who plays Hitler in that?
Mm-mm.
I don't know who.
Okay. Do you remember the remake movie of Nosferatu?
No.
From 1979.
You watch some weird stuff.
Yeah, I might be the worst person to have on here.
Oh, okay.
About movies.
Oh, you don't. Well, you like Terminator movies.
Oh yeah, Terminator and Alien. They're my go-tos for a trilogy.
See, I like the first Terminator. I didn't care for T2, and I know that's blasphemy. What? See, I knew it. I didn't care for it.
T2 is like up there with the best sequels ever next to Empire. You can't get much better than T2, man.
Well, I remember my dad was a big T1 fan, or Terminator 1, obviously. And then I was a teenager when T2 came out, and that was like the biggest shit ever.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I
So,
remember when it came out and everybody saw it, and I like the grittier, realistic, just in your face original movie. That one was just
well, that was
perfect for me.
that was every movie in the 80s, though.
Well,
True.
there's the bar where that big shootout happens with Arnold Schwarzenegger in Terminator 1.
Oh, hell yeah.
The bar's name is Tech Noir, and that is really the genre that Terminator 1 falls into, where you've got like this dark, gritty, kind of brutal but sci-fi edge to it. And Terminator 2 is super duper action. There's not really any noir there. There's not a
Yeah.
whole lot of pathos or anything. But as a follow up, I mean, when you look at what Cameron did with Aliens versus Alien, taking a really dark, sort of slow paced kind of thing and turning it into the ultimate action movie. He sort of did the same thing with T2, sort of taking the IP and sort of reinventing it in a completely different flavor and still making it fresh and interesting.
Yeah. Any you guys watch Stranger Things on Netflix?
Oh yes,
They captured the 80s fairly good in that series.
Oh, good. The only thing is, as I was watching it, I kept thinking to myself, okay, I see where they're borrowing this from, or I know what inspired this.
Yeah.
I had to, at times I was like, okay, and this is sort of a philosophical question. Where does the line between homage and outright theft reside? Because I mean, you took all these different concepts and mixed them up. A lot of Stephen King, a lot of the '80s stuff, a lot of John
Goonies.
Carpenter.
Goonies.
Oh yeah, Goonies. Yeah,
Goonies is great.
Goonies. Yeah, Goonies, Explorers.
It has that Goonies feel to it.
Yeah. But yeah, no, I love Stranger Things. They did a great job with it. I'm interested to see how they continue that, because in a way I was kind of like, I don't know that they shouldn't just stop this story and start a new one and make it an anthology. I don't know if you can carry this forward.
Dude, do you know how much money be left on the fucking table?
Yeah,
that's why there's going to be a season 2.
No, it's not about there not being a season 2. I just mean like not having it be a continuous story, like have it be an anthology. Like Stranger Things doesn't mean anything specific. You could have a sort of episodic every season is a new, sort of like American Horror Story kind of thing. Yeah.
There's the other series on Netflix too called Black Mirror.
Yes.
That was great. I love that series.
Modern day Twilight Zone or Outer Limits kind of thing.
Yeah.
I still haven't been able to see either of those. I started to watch Stranger Things, and then my wife came upstairs and she can't watch anything horror, anything even a little supernatural freaks her out. So I had to turn it off, and I haven't had a chance to go back.
You need to file for divorce immediately.
She makes up for it in many other ways. I do have a question now based on my T2 statement. What is, in your opinion, a movie that everybody loved but you hated?
Star Wars.
Fuck you. We're not talking Star Wars tonight. You hated Star Wars, really?
I like the original 3.
Okay, yeah, I'm with you on that. But
I still don't even watch them if I come across them. However, Indiana Jones, I'd have to put in my other list of trilogies. I can watch straight through.
I have to skip the second one.
Well,
it wasn't bad, but it just doesn't fit with the other two.
It's also a prequel.
Right.
Mm-hmm. I even thought they did 3 with Sean Connery. I enjoyed that one probably as much as the first.
Yeah, you could skip Temple of Doom. Just go.
I like Temple of Doom.
But I mean, I could watch Raiders and Last Crusade back to back, and it would just seem like it's one continuous story to me.
Yeah.
Carrie Ann, no. She said Princess Bride is one she doesn't see the appeal. I fucking love that movie.
Oh man, that's great.
That movie's awesome. Watch it again.
A movie that everybody liked, but I hated.
For me, it's Silence of the Lambs. I don't see the appeal.
Blasphemy!
You're kidding me.
I don't get it.
You know, if the one thing that I'll always say is that Silence of the Lambs is one of those rare movies that just about scene for scene, character for character, and word for word is an exact translation of the book. If you read the book, you might as well be reading the script of the film. I mean, there's so little difference between the two, and it's amazing that they were able to do it.
It's like, wait a minute, was she a great big fat person? That's the greatest fucking scene.
God, that guy is so good.
For me, it's mostly Jodie Foster because she thinks dramatic acting means whispering. anytime she's being dramatic, she just whispers. That's
Yeah,
how
well,
she shows she's.
Yeah, I
And
don't.
it fucking
There's only
drives
so,
me nuts.
there's only so much Jodie Foster I can take. I mean, Contact as a movie I really liked. Silence of the Lambs, but after that it's kind of like nothing else. Kind of. I mean, what was it? What was the one where she was like the rape victim?
The Accused.
The Accused. Yeah. So that and Taxi Driver, probably the only other two movies that I could say I'm a Jodie Foster fan of. I guess when I see them.
What do you know what I watched the other day that I absolutely fucking really enjoyed? Fire in the Sky.
Oh, the DB Sweeney movie, the alien abduction movie. That's a weird one.
I love the slow-paced alien, like Signs with Mel Gibson. I love that movie.
Have you seen Communion?
Oh, I love Signs. Which one, Scribe? Sorry.
So have you seen Communion with Christopher Walken?
No. You
want to talk about slow burn alien abduction story? It's about Whitley Strieber. Whitley Strieber was a guy, one of the in the 80s. He was one of the more famous people that wrote a book about being abducted by aliens. He, I think, the cover of his book kind of popularized what the gray alien kind of looks like, the small face, big eyes kind of deal. That is a weird movie. That's like Eraserhead kind of weird at certain points. So if you want to see something weirder than Fire in the Sky, but in the same realm of things, find Communion.
Where are you guys on I Am Legend? I really enjoyed that movie.
I Am Legend is fucking awesome, but I wish they would have stuck with the original ending.
Yeah.
What was the original ending?
In the original ending, he doesn't blow himself up. The zombies come in, and all they're after is the zombie he has taken. They take it and leave, and he goes off with the girl to the promised land, whatever the fuck it was.
Well, in the original book, there was no happy ending. In the original book, I Am Legend, by Robert Matheson.
Scribe, real quick. Are you one of those dudes that are always like the book is better?
No, I'm not necessarily think it's better. I just think that if they had stuck to the book, they would have had a much better movie all around.
Okay, my fault for interrupting.
Yeah, no, it's fine. The idea was that the twist of the book, by the time you get to it, is that, and of course they get this across a little bit in the movie, is the Will Smith character is the boogeyman to these people because they've started their own civilization. Just it's at night and it's got their whole thing. So it's this reverse where you see this guy's like the lone survivor in this apocalyptic wasteland, wherein he's the monster, he's the vampire hunting these people who are now the sentient and all the people. There are no other survivors. There's no safe place. He is the last guy on Earth, and he will go down as a legend. That was the whole point behind the title.
That's interesting.
In the I Am Legend is actually a remake of a movie called Omega Man.
Omega Man, yeah, Charlton Heston.
And the original movie is closer to the book than I Am Legend. I still love I Am Legend. I just think it would have been a bit more powerful if they'd stuck to the original ending.
The CGI always threw me off. I don't think that was necessary. They should have done practical, but it was still CGI bullshit.
Yeah, those lines in the beginning, they were dog shit.
Mm-hmm.
Where are you guys? All right, I still meet adult men our age that have not seen Goodfellas.
How the fuck?
Can we quarantine these fucking people for observation?
We need to have a telethon.
Okay, that's a good one. Best aside from Godfather, aside from Goodfellas.
No,
best mafia movie.
Oh shit!
Movie. What's
Donnie Brasco?
Donnie Brasco is very good. Yes.
You got rid of the two best ones.
Oh, I know, but this is too obvious. And of course, Godfather 2 and Godfather 1 might as well be one whole movie put together. So.
Yeah, I can never watch them individually, but when you could take, 2 starts at the beginning. And I like when I forget who used to do this. I think it was like USA. Back in the day, they used to show it all in order, and then I could watch The Godfather, but I can't watch them individually because I fall the fuck asleep.
The first one is a little slow.
Yes.
But two is great.
Oh, yeah.
2 is awesome. I know there's debate over whether Empire was the best sequel or Godfather 2. Godfather 2, hands down.
Yeah.
There was an HBO. This is kind of a weird one. There was an HBO movie about John Gotti, just called Gotti. And
that was good. Yeah.
Armand Assante played Gotti, and insofar as like TV movies about the mob go, that was a really good one. It's kind of, nobody talks about it now, but it's pretty good.
Yeah, that was a good movie. That's actually what got me interested in reading up on John Gotti, who was a fucking lunatic.
He was
But
awesome.
yeah, excellent movie.
But I don't know if this will quite fall into gangster movies, but Wolf of Wall Street was very, very similar kind of in genre, even though it was Wall Street
Oh yeah, well,
oriented. But oh my god, that movie is so fucking good.
I still haven't seen
That
it.
is this
you haven't seen it?
That's one I haven't seen yet.
it's this generation's Goodfellas.
Yeah,
It's going to go down as such, I believe.
I think I got burned out on Leo at the time because I saw Great Gatsby and that was just a fucking slog.
I'm a Leo fucking fanboy. I like 90% of what he's done.
Huh.
Cannonball Run. Oh my God, you guys are
Oh.
going way back.
Cannonball Run. No, it's a mad world.
That was a great one.
Fuck Cannonball Run next to that one.
For those kind of movies that in my mind, Every Which Way But Loose with Clint Eastwood and his little orangutan Clyde.
Oh yes.
I fucking love those movies.
Westerns.
No.
Tombstone.
We're all boring to me.
Unforgiven.
See, I love both of them, but
Yeah.
Tombstone has
Tombstone's got some man. Val Kilmer as Doc Holliday. God, he's so
nobody
good.
will ever be able to play Doc Holliday again, in my opinion.
No, there was that competing movie at the time. Kevin Costner as Wyatt Earp. And God, who was playing Holiday on that one? Was that Jeff Bridges?
No, it was Randy.
Randy Quaid. Yeah.
Yeah, Randy. Whichever
Randy
one's
Quaid.
not the retarded.
No, it's not Randy. Jeff. Not Dennis Quaid. Sorry.
Dennis Quaid. There you go. Yeah.
Randy Quaid. Randy Quaid's the guy who's insane and thinks that the mafia hit squad's coming after him.
Yes.
The Hollywood hit squad.
He was the Lampoons.
Yeah, he was in the Vacation movies.
Yeah, Vacation. What do you got? Where are you guys on those ones?
Christmas Vacation is one of the best holiday movies ever made.
The original and Christmas Vacation were both great. European Vacation and Vegas Vacation were shit.
Oh, yes.
Yeah. Well, I've watched the Vegas one a couple times. I'm lukewarm on it. I'm neither here nor there.
Kids movies.
Oh,
that's a tough one. I already know what my answer is, but I'm curious as to what.
Goonies is still considered a kids movie.
yeah.
Kind
Oh
of.
my god, it's so PG friendly. They don't even fucking swear in it. It's a kids. You mean like kids movies now or kids?
No,
movies
just well,
kids?
I mean,
Goonies. Come on, adult men were not going to see Goonies in the 80s.
For me, I'm going with Aladdin.
Okay. Iron Giant. I still cry at the end of Iron Giant every time I see it. That movie's so good. So good.
Kids movies. I don't know.
Gutenberg, do you even watch cartoons?
Yeah.
No.
See,
I'll zone out the SpongeBob every once in a while. But,
Ren and Stimpy. Ren and Stimpy kills it as far as cartoon shows.
Yeah, old school Ren and Stimpy was really good.
I couldn't. That's one of the ones where I don't like the animation, so I couldn't watch the series.
The animation is there's a great little documentary on YouTube by a nerd writer who does some. You want to talk about film analysis? You look up Nerd Writer. His stuff when he goes in the depth in movies is amazing. But he does this one about Ren and Stimpy where the first season or two was done by a specific artist, and one of his rules was you can't have the characters make the same face twice. And as a result, it was just had the most interesting sort of process of animating those characters and drawing them and putting stories together.
What were those old 50s cartoons? They were along the lines of like Bugs Bunny and shit, but they weren't. They were like little documentaries. They would show like Jesus Christ, how do you explain this? They would show like the day-to-day life of the average family, and it had that real soft music in the background. Then you guys know what I'm talking about. I've been trying to figure this out the other day. I
know what you're talking about. I can't place it though.
Yeah, it sounds familiar, but I don't know.
Yeah, I was thinking about it the other day, and I was like, what the fuck were they?
When I think of like 50s documentaries, I think of V for Victory, but that's a completely different thing.
No, but I mean along the lines of like a Roadrunner type cartoon animated.
Well, the Warner Brothers Studios and Chuck Jones and those guys did a lot of weird stuff back then, so I don't know.
Yeah, I like the old Roadrunner. Mention that, just to mention that a little bit. The old Wile E. Coyote.
Oh yeah,
the old Tom and Jerry.
Oh,
Like
love
the-
Tom and
the-
Jerry too. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
The stuff that wouldn't be allowed to be made today. Oh man.
Yeah.
Oh, they chase around and kick the shit out of each other.
Exactly.
I always loved the ones when they'd come together. Just every once in a while, they'd have one where they were friends.
Yeah, they had to fight the dog together. Or
Yeah,
something.
it just for no fucking reason. I always loved that.
Jeez, I'm trying to think of cartoons I liked back then.
Somebody asked me about Lion King. I do love the Lion King
Hmm.
because it's just Disney does Hamlet.
Yes.
But if you actually look at what would have happened in Lion King, and I probably way overthink this, Scar would have killed all of the little children
Mhm.
because that's what lions do when they take over a pride.
Yeah.
And
These aren't scientifically accurate lions. Let's be honest.
exactly, yeah. So, but that has always bugged me because I knew about that. I knew lions did that before I saw Lion King, so that always ruined it for me.
So the cartoon part didn't throw you off at all. It was just
No.
the premise of the lions.
Yes, because he would have killed everything and fucked all the women to make his own children.
Mm.
Yeah, animation. I mean, if the story's good and the acting's good and everything else is good, the animation's fine with me. Akira being, of course, one of the ones that's always all hailed very well. But also, if you think back to heavy metal or
Yeah.
Wizards, anybody who remembers Wizards or The Last Unicorn, this kind of stuff.
How about Pink Floyd The Wall, which is still my favorite fucking like musical movie to watch.
I really have to be in a mood to watch The Wall all the way through.
Oh,
It's a
it'll
bit of a slog.
Yeah, it'll depress the shit out of you.
Yeah.
But it's good. It still holds up in my opinion. But I'm a big Pink Floyd fan, so
Yeah.
All right, what's your favorite cringy movie? The one you wouldn't admit to other people you watch.
oh my god.
God. See, my head's so full of movies. Let me go open up a drawer over here real quick. We'll take a look at what I've got in a drawer. Yeah.
16 Candles.
Oh my god, really?
Yeah.
I would not picture you watching that.
No, I'm a big Molly Ringwald fan, man.
Oh, I can see that. And
She was
16
hot.
Candles wasn't too bad. It was what's the other one she did around that same Pretty in Pink?
Yeah, Pretty in Pink.
That was a shit movie.
Yeah, it was garbage.
The Pickup Artist that she did with Robert Downey Jr.
Mhm.
Didn't mind that one too much. The Brat Pack, they had a couple of good movies. Of course, The Breakfast Club. You gotta love that.
I know exactly what it is.
Okay.
Well, one of them. I mean, there are so many. I just as an aside, I have drawers and bookcases in my place full of movies that I've collected over the years. I'm such a movie nut. But one I just spotted, if you remember, Body Parts with Jeff Fahey, the lawnmower man. It is one of the more interesting horror movie concepts. It is cringy as hell, but it's got Brad Dourif in it. It's got some real body horror stuff. The ending is absolutely sap, but it's such a fun movie to watch. If you can find a copy somewhere, man, find Body Parts.
You know what movie I absolutely loved in the 80s was fucking Weird Science.
Oh, I love that movie.
Yes.
I fucking love that movie.
Weird
I
Science
found
is
that
great.
on DVD not long ago, and my boys watched it with me. They're 19 and 21 right now. They absolutely fucking loved it, even all these years later.
Got
Yeah.
Bill Paxton. God.
Yeah, Robert
Yes,
Downey Jr. plays a bully.
Yeah. That same era. Less Than Zero. You want to talk about?
Oh man,
You
yeah.
talk about the Requiem for a Dream of its day. Holy shit! Less Than Zero. Awesome movie.
Somebody mentioned Graffiti Bridge. If you guys don't know what that is, it's actually the sequel to Purple Rain.
Oh
And
yes.
I fucking love that movie for reasons I'm not going to tell you on the stream here. I'll tell you. When my wife and I were dating back in high school, that movie came out, and I love Prince. I love the soundtrack to that. But we would put that movie on, and we never made it to the second act. We would go have a little fun. So that will always hold a special place in my heart. It is an absolutely shitty movie if you watch it, but great soundtrack and definitely a cringy movie that I love.
I don't think I've seen it.
I know
Most
of it. I
people
think I
haven't.
might have seen it once a long time ago.
But if you want to see a good Prince movie, Under the Cherry Moon is excellent.
I've always stayed away from Prince.
Oh, I love his music. Always have.
Not a big fan. I'm a more of a Meatloaf guy.
Oh, I love Meatloaf too. We could do a music show one time. My music taste is all over the fucking place.
Did
Oh,
you
so
see?
does mine.
Did you see the Meatloaf movie Black Dog?
Mm-mm.
Oh God, Patrick Swayze and Meatloaf.
Oh my god.
It's a trucker movie, and oh, it's so bad.
Oh,
All
trucker
right.
movie, over the top.
Breakdown. If you want to talk
Never
about
seen
truckers.
Breakdown.
Well, actually, I mean, there might not have been much trucker in that. Well, if you own like a truck movie, you want to watch Duel, which is one of Spielberg's earliest movies.
I got a
Duel is
cringy
great.
movie for you. How
What's
about
that?
Pee-wee's Big Adventure? I
Oh,
fucking
yes.
love Pee-wee's Big Adventure.
Pee-wee's Big is awesome. Large Marge.
That movie was great.
You're like, you don't want to get mixed up with a guy like me, Dottie. I'm a loner.
Yeah.
I'm a rebel. Would that movie hold up now with kids, you think?
I think you could show it to kids nowadays. I don't think they could remake it.
Yeah.
No, my God. Yeah, they just came out with a new one on Netflix.
Well, yeah,
it wasn't
yeah.
that bad. It wasn't that bad.
Yeah. Pee-wee's Big Day or whatever it was called.
Yeah, it wasn't that bad at all.
Big Top Pee-wee was not worth the time.
Yeah, no. They were just trying to cash in.
Tremors.
Oh, I like that movie.
Yeah, good movie.
Tremors, I think, is another one of those sort of like Sneakers, Tremors, and Hunt for Red October. I think as movies are practically perfect in every way. I mean,
Jeez.
yeah. Well, I know. I mean, just as movies, they're just perfect movies. They got their tight story, everything's covered, and they're just really fun to watch.
I would admit to watching Pee-wee's Playhouse well into my fucking teens.
Oh yeah.
For whoever just said that on the live chat.
Oh yeah. Pee-wee's Playhouse, Ren and Stimpy. Man, I was watching that shit all the time.
Somebody asked about Chris Farley movies.
Tommy Boy.
I like Tommy Boy, but his movies are pretty much all the same. So
Yeah, Black Sheep was okay, but it was. I mean, when it's him and David Spade, which is almost all of them, it's kind of the same movie.
Yeah.
Just different. It's a long Saturday Night Live skit.
Yeah.
Those were movies I watched once and never fucking cared about again.
Oh, Wayne's World, the first one. I think it's still.
That does not hold up.
You don't think so?
Oh my fucking!
I haven't
God,
seen it in a
no.
long time. My memories of it are like back when it was a thing.
It's
so.
all the catchphrases now. You remember
Yeah.
saying when you're a kid, you're like, "Oh, this is so cringy."
Yeah.
It does not hold up. But yeah, we were kids, fucking Wayne's World hats and shit.
Yeah.
Aside from Princess Bride, fantasy movie.
Fantasy.
Oh man. So you took away Princess Bride.
I know, I'm awful.
You're an asshole sometimes. You know that?
Like the easy answers are the ones you got to take away first, and then you got to challenge yourself.
Fantasy. I don't know.
Um.
So many movies you could lump into that, though, right?
Yeah. I mean, there's lots of things. I mean, anything that's. I mean, like I would say, at least as far as my era is concerned, Dark Crystal, and Conan the Barbarian.
Ooh, Conan. Yes.
Yeah,
Even
those are good.
Red Sonja, you can add that in there too.
Mm-hmm. I'm gonna go with the one I mentioned earlier, Barbarians, just because I fucking love that movie.
Barbarians.
It was so bad, but so good. More modern. I really did love The Two Towers.
Yeah.
That's my favorite of the trilogy.
Okay.
I was giving Lord of the Rings a little bit of shit on Twitter the other day, but they're movies I watched. I watched them and I enjoyed them, but I don't ever care to see them again.
An old ex-girlfriend of mine, she had the ultimate edition on DVD of all three of those movies. Like the extra 8 hours of
Right.
the fuck it was. And so, oh God, one weekend we sat and watched all of them back to back. It was, yeah, I mean, it was like trying to watch, it was worse than trying to watch the Godfather movies back to back.
Oh,
Because, I mean, it's just like, there's only so much I can take. And then there's a lot of the places where I was kind of like, I can see why they cut this out of the theatrical cut. It's like,
most of the time that I see extra special features, it's like they should have kept this cut out. That should not be in there.
I just got
Cherry 2000. Holy shit!
Oh my God, Cherry
yes,
2000.
yes.
I don't know what that is.
As far as special features, there's something I got to mention. If you ever have a chance, find a movie. It's relatively recent, last 10, 15 years or so, I think, maybe less. Anyway, it's called Spartan, and it stars Val Kilmer. It's directed and written by David Mamet. It's a very cool sort of like action thriller movie. And the thing is that the movie itself is really serious, really, really dark, straight to the point. It's sort of like I don't know if it's a contemporary to or a precursor to the Bourne series. It's kind of that kind of kind of line to it with a little less heart pumping. But then if you turn on the commentary by Val Kilmer, it becomes the funniest comedy movie ever. Val Kilmer turns that entire thing into an absolute gut puncher. I can't even describe. It's like you got two movies on one disc, just because he takes the movie and analyzes it, and he puts in a whole bunch of absurdity and backstory that.
I don't fuck with Val Kilmer, bro.
Oh, it's good.
He's done so many good movies. Somebody just mentioned Willow. I love Willow.
Willow, Kiss Kiss Bang Bang. Him and Robert Downey Jr., one of the best buddy crime detective spoofs, and it just came out a few years ago. It's amazing. Shane Black wrote it, the guy who did Lethal Weapon.
His face is too fat.
Now it is. He's old.
Yeah.
He's really old now. What do you want?
Yeah, he's old.
Top Secret.
Top Secret, yes, excellent movie.
Yeah, another one of those sort of Zucker Airplane things that doesn't get as much. I mean, Airplane always gets a lot of credit. Top Secret was really good.
Top Secret is one that it doesn't have as many funny jokes in it, and there's a lot of the jokes in there that you have to be smart to understand.
Oh, Real Genius! Somebody mentioned. Yes, Real
Genius was good.
That's also it's sort of the bastard son of Weird Science. Yeah, Real Genius was good.
Before we get too far away from it, I want to go back to Cherry 2000 real quick.
Oh yeah,
to
sure.
explain it to Gutenberg.
Okay.
It's basically a MGTOW's wet dream.
Oh no.
There's a in the future, guys can order sex robots, and this guy has one, and it's basically his wife, but it breaks down, so he has to get a special part for it, and he hires this real woman to take him to go find it, and he ends up, abandoning the sex robot in the end. But yeah, it's a MGTOW's wet dream. It's a cheesy as fuck movie, but really good.
Interesting. What's one movie that comes on TV that you'll actually stop and watch the whole thing?
Oh man,
mine's Die Hard, 100%. Christmas time, Die Hard, watch it every time.
I love Die Hard. I have it on DVD, so I put it in for my first Christmas movie of the season each year.
Nice.
Just about. Well, in the olden days, it was anytime TBS had a James Bond marathon. I just sit at the old Sean Connery and Roger Moore stuff. I could sit there and watch that shit all day.
For me, it's A Knight's Tale. Anytime that comes on, I can't stop watching it.
Now that's interesting, because that was like one of Heath Ledger's first sort of. Are you talking about the Heath Ledger movie?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, that was Paul Bettany and Heath Ledger and these guys, and when they were just sort of barely well known. Doesn't that have like a rock soundtrack?
Yes.
Yeah, that was weird. I saw it in the theater, and I liked it. I don't remember really liking it. What do you like about it?
I do like how they mix contemporary music into the medieval setting, but it's just such a good rags to riches tale.
Okay. I'll be right back in a minute.
Yeah, but yeah, they did such a good job with that. It could have been so corny, and in parts it is, but it's one of those ones where they obviously don't take themselves too seriously, but seriously enough that you care about the characters and what's happening with them. And the twist at the end is just awesome. I love that fucking movie.
Okay.
The Nightmare Before Christmas, or that says The Night Before Christmas, but The Nightmare Before Christmas is one of those movies that with my generation is way too overrated.
Yes. I completely agree.
I'm not a big Tim Burton fan. Somebody needs to turn a light on at his house, because not everything is that dark. And like Edward Scissorhands was such a shit movie. It was shit.
Well, I liked Edward Scissorhands on the basis that it was essentially a fairy tale, a really weird fairy tale. I liked the imagery. It was a neat movie to watch. I've only seen it twice, I think. Burton, Batman, and Batman Returns, and everything after that. I'm hard pressed to think of something that he did after Batman Returns. And Batman Returns was kind of a stretch at that point for me too, even though I was a kid and I loved Batman. I can't think of a movie of his that really made me happy after that.
Yeah.
He's done a lot of stuff, and like there were parts of Sleepy Hollow that looked good, but I didn't like it. It's too gloomy. It just I didn't like the way he kind of took the fairy tale and turned into some weird murder mystery thing and all that.
Somebody asked our thoughts on the Jurassic Park franchise. I like the first movie.
Yes.
Jurassic World is basically the first movie remade bigger. 2 and 3 were just crap.
Oh, right.
I haven't seen Jurassic World. There's I don't think there's anything left to say except showing off dinosaurs. It's like there's no story left.
Jurassic World is pretty good, actually.
If you like Jurassic Park, the original movie, it's basically the same story.
Yeah, I want to watch it.
It's not bad.
Okay.
Yeah, I only like the first Jurassic Park and 2 and 3. I don't even think I tried to watch them and tapped out, but the new one is pretty good.
Okay.
What about the Rocky movies?
Ooh,
how far do you go before you can't watch them anymore?
Oh, it depends on how high I am.
Well,
I probably. I don't know.
Rocky IV is the greatest American propaganda movie ever made.
Absolutely.
It's amazing. It's like, I mean, much more well-read people than myself have gone through every Rocky movie. If you want to see like one of the most comprehensive analysis of the Rocky franchise, look up Cinemassacre, Angry Video Game Nerd.
Mm-hmm.
Him and his friends just go through those things point by point, and it's amazing. They're such super fans, and they go down how the series evolved over time, all the way up through Creed.
I actually liked Creed. Creed wasn't bad.
I haven't seen it. I heard it was pretty good.
Creed was good. I thought Rocky 1 and 2, I feel like they're their own movies.
Yeah.
Like 1 and 2 are like they're a separate genre, and then there's 3 and 4.
Yeah.
And they're like their own little fucking movies separate of themselves. But I was a big fan of 3 and 4.
3 and 4 were more Hollywood movies.
Yeah.
But they were good.
They were. Oh, I love them.
And 4 is amazing. Best training montages next to Bloodsport.
It actually has a really good soundtrack to it. I love the soundtrack from Rocky 4.
Ain't no easy way out.
Yes.
The shortcut home.
You're gonna make me sing, and I promised I wasn't gonna do that.
People have been paying you money to sing.
5 and I sang a little Twinkle Twinkle Little Star, so I
missed it. I must have missed it.
5 is one of my guilty pleasure movies. It is horrible. Really? It's fucking horrible.
It is, yeah.
But yeah, it's one that I can sit there and watch
Tommy
and laugh at.
Gunn.
Tommy Gunn.
I listen. I'll watch the first 20 minutes and then the last 20 minutes.
I could see that. Yeah.
Of Rocky 5. Like everything in the middle just isn't worth it.
I've never seen Balboa, so that one I can't comment on.
Balboa is good. Balboa is good.
Well, now we have to move on to Rambo movies.
Wait. Let me detract a little bit.
Okay.
I don't like the way. Do you know, like the older Rocky movies? It wasn't that in close panning fight scene. It was more of a outside above the ring.
Yeah.
One thing I did not like about the Balboa thing which is why I hate Transformers. I hated those fucking movies because they zoom super close into the action, and I get fucking dizzy.
Yeah, you can't even tell what's going on.
You can't tell what's going on. It's just like shit spinning, things are moving, and it's just like blurs of color, and you can't tell what's going on. It gives me a fucking headache. They did that with Balboa.
You fucking asshole. Now I have that song stuck in my head.
Give it and can't be wrong.
Oh, man. See, I have a really good memory for lyrics. So it's starting at the beginning. You're an asshole. The Death Wish movies, they're pretty much all the same, and they're a little bit too rapey for my taste.
The first one, Jeff Goldblum was one of the rapists.
Yes.
Brutal.
I think that might have been one of his first movies.
It was.
Yeah.
Was it? Okay, yeah. And as far as the first one's concerned, I mean, you want to talk about a movie that probably wouldn't get made today.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
I mean, even though you look at what you get away with in most action and horror movies these days anyway, but if you really just focus in on showing front and center at an actual like sexual assault or rape and make that like I mean, good God, I Spit on Your Grave is one of the best revenge movies ever made, but there's no way that could be made today, or at least get away with being made today.
There used to be so much in graphic detail rape in movies. It was horrible. I remember my dad, I don't even know what movie it was.
Straw Dogs.
He was watching a Western movie, and these I can't remember what happened originally. I think Indians came and attacked everybody, and they left this woman alive. And cowboys came up to find her, and instead of saving her, they just raped the shit out of her.
What the fuck?
And I'm like, what is this fucking movie?
Holy shit.
Hey man, maybe
don't do that.
Maybe she was asking for it.
Maybe. Her dress was too low.
That was a joke, people. That was a joke. But she probably was asking for it.
get back to Rambo real quick. First Blood was good.
Now, here's something I actually know a little bit about. Do you know the original ending? He kills himself.
That would have actually made more sense.
Yeah, where he goes on that long diatribe. We talk about come back to the world, spitting on me, call me baby killer, and all kinds of crap. Well, the original ending, he actually shoots himself in the chest.
Right.
And you can watch the original on YouTube. But then they decided, holy shit, this is a good movie. We need to continue this fucking franchise.
Mhm.
But
it's another one of those movies where it's much like Rocky, where after that first movie, the others don't seem to really go with it, other than it has that character, because it was much more Hollywood. Rambo and then Rambo 3. They were much more Hollywood movies.
I don't think those movies can hold up for kids today's, because it wasn't uncommon for those movies to go 20 minutes with no dialogue.
Yeah.
And that's a lot of the old, like, Charles Bronsons and shit. It'd be like a half an hour of just them driving around, setting up the fucking plot with zero dialogue.
Mm-hmm.
Godfather was kind of like similar to that, and that's why I fall asleep.
Yeah. What about The Jerk? Have you guys seen that?
Oh yeah, Steve Martin. So The Man with Two Brains, I always liked.
The Man with Two Brains was good.
Which is the ones with the cans? He's shooting the cans. He hates.
That's The Jerk.
That's The Jerk.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've seen that as a kid.
As a kid, you got to watch it again now, because it holds up surprisingly well.
Does it? I always liked Steve Martin. Even that what was that family movie he did in the 90s?
The Parenthood.
Yeah, Parenthood. Yeah.
Parenthood was great.
Yeah.
That's a really good movie. One we haven't even mentioned. It's a throwaway because there's not much more to say about it. But Ghostbusters, the first, the original, the actual good one. Yeah.
2 is good too. I like 2.
2 was good until the end.
Yeah, the happy slime I never liked that, and the Statue of Liberty walking around, never liked that either.
Oh, that's pretty baller. Vigor and shit. How dare you?
Vigo the Carpathian, yeah.
Vigo. I thought it was Vigor. Whatever.
And Bobby Brown's title track was much better than the original Ghostbuster song.
How dare you, Jackie? What was it, Jackie Wilson? That was in 2, right?
Jackie Wilson.
Yeah, when they bring the when they play inside the Statue of Liberty with the goo. It's your love lifting me higher.
Well, you know what the big controversy was about the Ray Parker Jr. version of Ghostbusters, right?
Yeah, he stole the music.
You see, it was a sped up version of "Got a New Drug" or "Want a New Drug" by Huey Lewis and the News, and there was some crazy undisclosed amount they settled for because they were like, "Yeah, he did steal that, so but we don't want to give up the song for the movie, so here's a bunch of money." So.
Yeah, and I never knew it, because I only heard about that controversy with the new movie coming out.
Yeah.
And if you listen to those two together, it's absolutely stolen.
Exactly.
Interesting. Kind of like Led Zeppelin when you found out they fucking copied half of their music from old black blues musicians.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I got a little depressed that day when I found that out.
For me, that day, the first time I ever knew that kind of thing happened was Vanilla Ice and Ice Ice Baby. I had never heard Pressure. So
oh gosh.
Same for me.
Yeah. Groundhog Day, somebody mentioned in there. That's another one that if it comes on, I can watch it anytime, because it's one for me, like for you, Scribe, how Red October hit everything.
Mm-hmm.
I just think that one hit so well on the whole way through. I just
watched a video where actually there's a couple of videos out there, but they did analysis to try to figure out exactly how long he was stuck in that day. Because there's a lot of things that obviously mean he spent a lot of time at learning how to play the piano and ice sculpture and all this other stuff. And the estimate is somewhere between 35 and 40 years.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah. In order, because I think the metric, one of the metrics they used was it takes at least 10,000 hours to master any one thing.
Mm-hmm.
And so if he mastered the piano and he mastered ice sculpture, they just went down the list and like, okay, well, given the days that we know he spent in there, given what by the end of the movie, all the things he's demonstrated he has mastered over time, the general estimate is anywhere from 35 to 40 years he was stuck in that one day.
Oh, Carrie Ann, why do you hate things set in PA?
I'm in PA, bro.
I know, that's why I'm bringing it up.
You don't like Philadelphia with Tom Hanks? What?
I actually like that movie.
That was a pretty good movie.
That's a good movie, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I watched it about a year ago.
What about the Philadelphia Experiment?
What about Rocky?
Yeah,
Rocky.
What the hell?
It does. As a boxing fan, it really does piss me off.
Okay, so
a statue of Rocky.
She doesn't like him out of spite. What would she has a problem with PA
you're in Pennsylvania?
Oh, maybe that's it, or she's got some
Okay.
bad memories back there. PTSD.
What part of PA, Carrie? You can name the county if you'd like, or north, south, east, west.
Are you familiar with her, Goot?
No, I don't know who she is.
Oh, she runs a channel. She's teaching herself how to play banjo. She plays some really good stuff. You should check her out sometime.
Oh,
And
she's the one
hot
you
as fuck.
shared. The video you shared like a month or so ago.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I watched her video. It's pretty good. Southwest. Oh, okay. So Pittsburgh area.
Thoughts on the Halloween franchise? Good through 3, in my opinion. And then, well, no, let me take that back. Not 2. Season of the Witch was shit.
I like you know what you talk about cringy movies. I like Season of the Witch.
Yeah, that movie sucked.
It's a guilty pleasure kind of thing, but
Gotcha.
I like you know what I liked. I liked the fact that it seemed like they were going to change it to an anthology series.
Right.
They're going to do separate stories, and there's a lot of plot points in that thing that still stick with me. But of course, the thing that always I love the best is the Silver Shamrock tune, and of course the whole idea was just to like make kids and people's heads explode with bugs and snakes and things.
Yeah.
That's so cool.
Somebody mentioned Deliverance, and we have to talk about this. I have a problem with any movie where there's male butt rape. I don't know why, because like what's the Tarantino movie?
Pulp Fiction.
Yes, thank you. I love everything about that movie, but that scene makes it so I can't watch it.
Okay. I think Deliverance is a great flick. That's one of the most tense, weird, and especially given the territory they were working on, like working on a river and everything.
Well, here's my problem with Deliverance, and it's stuff I found out after I watched it the first time, is that rape scene is not scripted. That is what those hillbillies came up with all on their own.
Oh.
That's fucking scary. And they say that Ned Beatty was fucked up for a long time after that because
yeah. I heard that too.
Yeah, because that was real. That's actual rape you're seeing on movie.
Well, he wasn't
they
actually
don't, They don't penetrate him, but
right.
I mean, that's fucking horrible.
Sure. No, but it's a great movie.
I do not like Quentin Tarantino movies.
I don't like most of them.
I like the first two, Reservoir Dogs. I like that, and I like Pulp Fiction.
Yes.
I liked some parts of Wait, no, I take that back. I did like Inglourious Bastards.
You didn't like Jackie Brown?
No, I hated Kill Bill.
Yeah, I'm not. Maybe that's the one you were talking about before. Everybody loved and I didn't like. Kill Bill never really. I never really cared for it. Either one of them. I mean, even though they're supposed to be one big movie.
What was it? The newer one with Jamie Foxx.
Django Unchained.
Django Unchained, yeah.
Yeah, Django is alright, and that's only because Christoph Waltz is an amazing fucking actor.
Yeah,
he carried that movie, in my opinion. I mean, Jamie Foxx is a good actor. Leonardo DiCaprio and Christoph Waltz, their dialogue is absolutely fucking amazing.
You know about Leo's cut hand in that movie?
Yeah,
and that wasn't scripted.
Yeah, he went right through it.
Yeah, he just kept acting right through cutting his hand open. Yeah, it was amazing.
Damn.
Yeah, Sam Jackson, that was pretty badass too.
Has anybody seen The Magnificent Seven yet?
No.
No. So let me talk about remakes very briefly. At least my philosophy on remakes.
Hateful Eight was garbage, real quick.
Yes. There's a couple of very, very rare exceptions, but as far as I'm concerned, do not remake a classic movie. Exceptions that like broke the rule but only prove it, kind of, in a way. True Grit is one of them. And 3:10 to Yuma, and of course they're both westerns, but I think they get away with it for whatever reason. But otherwise, don't remake Psycho. Don't remake The Magnificent Seven. Don't remake these movies that don't need to be remade. If you want to make money off of those IPs, clean them up and put them back in the theaters. People will go see them, and you don't have to spend any money on them. If you want to remake something, this is what I wish they would do. If you want to remake something, find something that was a good idea executed poorly. Remake that.
Here's my thing. I haven't seen the movie yet. I was asking because I'm really curious how it turned out. I saw The Magnificent Seven with my father a long, long time ago, and I loved it. But I'm a huge Denzel fan, and not Denzel. Yeah. He's the one starring in it, right?
Denzel is the lead. Yeah.
Yeah. I think he could do justice to a role like that. And the one thing I'm going to disagree with you on that, there are some movies that could be remade because of the time they were made in. Like the dialogue is not very realistic. Such as nobody's dropping F-bombs anywhere. There's a lot of movies, especially in the Western era, that were very clean. I mean, there's not a single swear word in any of them.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe not remake the same movie, but something very similar that's, an obvious homage. But I think there is some room for improvement on some of those.
But yeah, well, so like I said, like the True Grit. You take a movie where it was like, I mean, you watch the original now with the John Wayne and everything. It's like very squeaky clean. It's very Hollywood of its era and everything. It's still a great movie. I mean, it's still, I think, one of John Wayne's better performances just because of his age and how he worked that into the character. But yeah, but I just think Westerns, I think, are one of those things that you can muck with the classics, because as we've grown up sort of as an audience, we've understood the West wasn't as cut and dry as the old movies would proclaim themselves, and they are not necessarily historical in their subject matter, but they have a historical setting in our sort of mythos. And I think you have room to do that. But otherwise, things like, they've never remade Gone with the Wind. There's a reason. They've never remade Wizard of Oz directly, because there's no way they could outpace that classic, and everybody would hate them for it.
I have a minor quandary here. How about No Country for Old Men? Can we classify that as a newer Western? I'd
say that is a neo-noir.
Yeah.
That's much more neo-noir to me, like Memento, which is one of Nolan's best movies.
So to classify it as a Western, it must be revolvers and horses? What do you mean here?
Kind of.
I don't know, though.
I think it could classify as a Western, but it would be
a newer Western.
Yeah.
Have you seen Blood Simple? Another Coen Brothers movie.
No.
It's one of the earliest ones. That too could be considered both noir and a little bit Western, because it does take place in Texas, I believe. It's also, it's still an amazing movie. The Coen Brothers are kind of every other movie is a absolute gem kind of thing, like Miller's Crossing and
Hudsucker Miller's Crossing was good.
Yeah, Miller's Crossing, as far as mob movies, Miller's Crossing, Hudsucker Proxy was really funny.
I like movies that can pull off a whole lot with very little, and No Country for Old Men definitely did that.
Yes.
Yeah.
That is a great movie.
Yeah, well, Javier Bardem just
badass
blew it out of the wall. I mean, there's some characters that, you see an actor all over the place kind of thing, and then you see him do this one role, and it's just like, that is just burned in your memory, and it just makes such an impression. And that, Chittick or whatever his name was, that just, man.
I'm the same way with not Antonio Banderas, Benicio del Toro. I always saw him as the guy in Snatch for years, until Sicaros came out, the Mexican hitman movie about infiltrating the drug cartel down in Medellin. Have you guys seen that? Came out like two years ago.
I've heard of it. There's a sequel coming out soon, I think.
Sicarios, I think is how you pronounce it. It is really fucking good. But he plays a Colombian, one old style hitman that's working with the CIA to take down this drug cartel kingpin that killed his family. It is really fucking good.
Somebody asked about Dances with Wolves. Somebody brought up that it's an excellent movie that's about 2 hours longer than it needed to be.
Absolutely.
You mean the grandfather of Avatar?
Mm-hmm.
I walked out of Avatar before I watched any reviews. I walked out of Avatar and said, that was Fern Gully.
Yes.
And Dances with Wolves. And then I go home and I watch a couple videos on YouTube, and it's the exact same thing. It's like, well, at least I'm on the same page with somebody.
Avatar is Pocahontas.
There's elements of that too.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah.
I love what South Park did it with it. Dances with Smurfs. Because that's what it is. It's Dances with Wolves with blue people.
Let's talk for a second about raping our childhoods.
Oh God!
I mean, so we've got Chips coming.
The Chips movie. Have you seen the fucking trailers for that?
Oh, I saw the trailer. Oh yeah.
Paunch is a fucking FBI agent undercover. It's not even his real name.
Yeah.
What the fuck is that?
I don't know.
Oh,
I don't know. I mean, so that, let's see, we got that. Well, we have Starsky and Hutch,
Dukes of Hazzard.
Dukes of Hazzard.
So many, and I don't understand why they have to do it.
It's cheap. They don't have to put a lot of thought into the IP. They probably already own it in some capacity or other, and then they just sort of bank on people's nostalgia value for the camp. And if they can make, if they spend $30 million on the movie and they make 100 just based on novelty act, hey, that's $70 million in the bank, baby.
But it's my childhood. It's worth more than that.
Not to the rest of the movie-going public, apparently.
Fuck them.
Yeah, well.
I hope that movie tanks so bad that everybody involved gets fired.
Well, why do we have, 4 fucking Transformers movies? Because people still go to see this shit.
Well, see, with Transformers, at least that was a live-action movie, and they could...
Partially.
Partially, yeah. But it was something we'd never seen before, and you could take those stories. It's very much like comic book movies. You can build on that. I have no real problem with that. My problem with it is that the action scenes are shit because you can't tell what's going on.
Yeah.
But like with Chips, it has a story already there. You don't have to build something else. If you want to make a Chips movie, fine, fuck it. But make it a Chips movie. It's like what they did with Dukes of Hazzard, where they decided to be funny about it, or the Brady Bunch movie.
Well, the Brady Bunch movie kind of worked because they set the family in modern day. They sort of made a joke of the material that kind of worked because they didn't take themselves seriously with it.
See, it didn't work for me because I loved the Brady Bunch growing up.
Oh, okay. Well,
where do you guys on Prometheus?
I haven't seen it.
I loved it.
It was.
Well, I've not loved it. I'd give it a 7.5.
I thought it was overblown. I didn't understand what it was trying to do. It was so trying to ride the line of, oh, it's not actually an Alien prequel, but it is, and the thing that really broke it for me was a couple of scenes in that movie that just didn't make any sense to me. Like when she's running down the hall and she has to have the surgery done on her.
Mm-hmm.
She has to get in that surgery pod.
Yeah.
Why didn't he kill her? I mean, it wasn't like she was getting away. It wasn't like she could get away. He just kind of lets her go. And then the guy is hiding himself on the ship to go all the. None of that made any sense. It's like, why? I don't know.
It's a movie, bro.
No, well, okay.
Okay,
that only goes so far. Sorry, it's a movie is a cop out for the sake of like, okay, does this story make sense? Is it something I'm supposed to take seriously? Because I can suspend my disbelief pretty high, truth be told. But when something does not connect from one scene to the next, it just doesn't work.
It was weird. I bring up Prometheus, and you're just bringing up one scene. Like, why didn't he just kill her in the hallway? It wasn't like an actual critique of the actual movie. That was my point.
The critique of the actual movie, it was a lot of really interesting, cool imagery, and a really confusing story. I didn't know what we were doing or where we were going with it at all. So
what do you mean? They they were in a cave. They found the fucking coordinates to a planet. They went to the planet, found the creators.
Yeah,
they wanted to kill us.
I didn't care, and I didn't care about any of the characters. I didn't know the names of most. If I walk out of a movie and I don't know the names of the characters, I just go through a thing, I know that something's wrong. Like I walked out of Rogue One, and I was like, aside from the main character, I don't even know who these people are.
That is true. They didn't build the characters up.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Yeah. As far as the story, and now when you look at like Alien, okay, let's go back to Aliens because this is like it's sequel, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
You got to know those characters, and they had a small cast. Relatively speaking, they're very, isolated. They had very distinct personalities. You got to care over time about the character, even the cat, for God's sakes. And with these other movies where they have like 12 people show up that you might hear their name once and they never develop them. And so when you're trying to build tension, when you're trying to build an idea that you want to see not only what happens to these characters, but either that they make it or somebody so nasty that you hope they die.
Yeah, there's no character. There was no character arc. I agree with you there.
Yes, and so unfortunately, if the characters aren't interesting to watch, if I don't care about what's happening to them, then there's no tension. And if there's no tension, there's no drama. And if there's no drama, it's just a bunch of pretty pictures. And that was my problem with Prometheus.
Yeah, I feel the same way about porn too. Don't worry about it.
Well, that's actually a good segue. I wanted to ask you guys, because you guys are both around my age. And people are asking you to mute your mic while you're eating, dude.
Oh, you guys can hear that?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, my fault.
Being people who grew up in the 80s, how do you feel about the absence of boobs in modern movies?
Don't
you think kids are getting ripped off? Because I remember watching Cinemax and just waiting for those scenes.
It's a fucking disgrace.
Thank you. But then again, they have the internet now, so.
Exactly. There's that and the fact that, when I was a kid, I always like try to find that one station I could find with the squiggly line down the middle, so I could catch a little bit here and there. No, I remember renting movies on the sly because I knew there would be like naked ladies in them and stuff like that.
Yep.
Like the oh God, what was her name? I'll think of it in a minute. But there's this one actress who was just softcore all over the place. Was it Carrie? It was Carrie something. She did Mirror Images. If you find the movie Mirror Images, oh God.
I thought you were gonna go Shannon Tweed.
Well, there is Shannon Tweed, but now Carrie Werher. I think it was Carrie Werher. And Puppet Master 2. So there's only one scene, but there's this girl in Puppet Master 2 in this one scene where she gets out of bed and she's only got like a thong panties on. And I was just mesmerized by this girl. I thought she was the most beautiful creature on the planet. Of course, I was like 12. But you can't be cheap with nudity lately, it seems like.
I know. See, one of my favorite movies growing up was Revenge of the Nerds.
Yes, the rape scene at the end.
Oh, yes.
Oh, dude, no way you did not see that. I was going to bring that up a minute ago. Revenge of the Nerds. Holy shit.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I remember watching that as a kid, and it was just great. And thinking about it, later on, it's like, that's rape. You can't do that.
Yeah, especially like the Mission Impossible music when they're doing the panty raid.
But nerds. So I love that movie. I still do.
Yeah, I think there was something at that time about just sort of admitting to the fact that teenage boys are hornballs, and if we tease them enough with a character to the end where there's a payoff where we get to see them naked, like in the Animal House or whatever else, it's very satisfying. It also feels like you've accomplished something by getting to that point in the movie.
I love that movie, Revenge of the Nerds. That's one I'll watch over and over.
Revenge of the Nerds is a great movie.
Yeah, Anthony Edwards, who eventually became a serious actor. That was his first role.
Yep.
Thank you for the donation.
Doctor on ER, which I was amazed to see him on. Like when ER first came out, I was like, oh my God, it's the Nerd. What the hell?
Yes.
Yeah.
And never forget Ted too, with Married with Children, whatever his name is.
Oh yeah, he played the
Stan
the Man.
Mm-hmm.
Stan Gable.
Yep.
Did you guys ever see the third one? It was a made-for-TV movie.
Yes, I did.
It was such shit.
It was bad. Yeah.
What was the other one I was going to bring up from Police Academy?
Yes. Talk about cheap boobs. Oh man.
Cheap boobs and horrible gags.
Who made Steve Gutenberg a star?
Lots of gay jokes in those as well. Something you could not get away with now.
Oh man.
What was the club? The Blue Oyster Club?
Yeah.
The one they always ended up in.
Was it the Blue Oyster Club?
Blue Oyster Club.
I thought it was the manhole.
No.
Who was the little black chick with the afro? What called her? Was it Squeaky? What was her nickname?
God, I
can't remember.
I remember it was High Top or High Tower.
High Tower.
And then there was Motormouth Jones.
Yep.
Yes.
Oh shit.
That guy is amazing.
What about
this is what I was talking about earlier with movies that you just don't get anymore.
Mm-hmm.
We remember this enough that we remember character names from movies that came out 30 years ago now.
Oh yeah.
And they were crap movies. They were shit, but they were so funny.
Yeah.
And you just don't get movies like that anymore.
Yeah, because you see, those movies, they didn't care about playing it safe. And this is this is what has completely
Tackleberry. I remember him.
Tackleberry.
Tackleberry. He's the cop who took everything seriously, right?
Yeah, well, he was like the super cop.
Yes.
Cop. What was the name of the guy with the silver-headed cane that was their nemesis throughout the entire thing? I forget his name.
Well, they had two actually. There were two different ones.
Oh, well, yeah, but I'm talking about the one with the gray hair, the kind of sort of gnomish looking guy.
I don't remember their names. I can see their faces.
Yeah, I also remember that their sort of doddering old mentor guy was the dad on Punky Brewster.
Yes, Commandant Lassard.
Commandant Lassard. Yeah, that's right. Shit.
I remember because I had seen Police Academy before I saw Punky Brewster, and that seemed a weird transition.
Yeah, but see, the thing is that I kind of, as far as analogies go, movies today have the bumpers in the gutters for the bowling alley. You know, there's no risk. It's like everything's got to be sanitized. It's got to be put through filters. We got to make sure that we don't offend anybody, or that if we are doing a movie that's all like violent and everything, well, we can't be too violent, or we can't have a woman get hit or like too overly abused or something, because that might piss somebody off. It's like the movies without like inhibitions, they just don't have those anymore.
Yeah, that scene in The Godfather where what's her name? Talia Shire gets the shit kicked out of her.
Mm-hmm.
That's still hard to watch, and
yes.
yeah, that would never happen again.
And exactly, and that's what it's supposed to do. It's supposed to make you uncomfortable. It's supposed to be something brutal. That is the whole point of having a scene like that, in order to affect the audience. That's how you tell a story. If you take that out, if you try to numb it down just so you don't like make somebody mad, well, then you're taking away part of the experience. I mean, watching a movie that's an adventure movie, getting the adrenaline rush, that's part of it. Seeing the bad guy get killed, yay. But in a movie that's like drama or horror, the brutality, the fear, the disgust, that's also part of it. And people somehow want to avoid that now, which drives me nuts.
I think the same with comedies. They just don't push the comedic envelope into places that make people uncomfortable, which is where the comedy is.
Right. Exactly.
Sorry, Gutenberg, I didn't mean to cut you off there.
No, it's okay.
Thank you so much.
Damn, look at the money just flying today.
Oh, wait, that's 20 Canadian. That's like 5 cents.
Shut up. It's still a donation.
I'm kidding.
No, this isn't like the 90s. Their money's actually worth something now.
That's true.
Yeah, he just asked the question, too. Which character would each of you be an alien?
I would be one of the ones dead first.
I'd be fucking, what's his name? That was in Weird Science. Fuck. You just said
you mean Aliens or Alien?
Which one do you say? Alien, the original.
Oh, the original, yeah, because Bill Paxton was
Bill Paxton.
He was in Aliens, but not Alien. I'd probably be Dallas, I think.
Monkey be the Mexican chick, the real spunky one.
Oh, Vasquez.
I'm the chick.
He's Vasquez.
Vasquez. I remember all the. I love Aliens. I couldn't even remember her fucking name.
Oh, Bishop Vasquez. Fucking. God, what was Paul Reiser's guy's name? Burke.
I forgot he was in that.
Oh yeah, Paul Reiser, Burke. There's a movie I want to mention. I was talking like at the very beginning, like the mid 70s, late 80s. A movie that nobody talks about anymore, that I know of. It's called The Long Goodbye, and it's a detective noir story, where you've got this character who's this hard-boiled detective, Marlowe. He's actually a literary character, and they pick him up out of the sort of hard-boiled 40s stories and just drop him in 1970s Los Angeles, and basically have him act as he would have in that era, but they don't play up that sort of anachronism. And they put him through a good old-fashioned gumshoe, sort of gritty murder mystery. And it's Elliot Gould playing the character. It's not for everybody. It's slow, it's quiet, it really builds up. It's a slow burner. And
Elliot Gould is one of the most boring people walking this fucking planet today.
He was great in MASH.
Great in MASH. He was great in American History X.
He played a great Jew. How hard was that?
Well, aside from jumping into an oven, what would you have him do?
Oh, I don't know. Dude, he just sat at the table and looked all Jewy. It's
yeah. Jesus Christ. Oh no, but if you see him in this movie, it's one of the exceptions. If you MASH aside, Elliot Gould does a really great job in that movie. Right, I just got to bring it up because if anybody's listening that hasn't seen that movie, if you can find a copy, I highly recommend it.
I'll check it out.
See, the problem with this is so many things keep going through my mind, and then I lose them as something else comes up.
Oh, Invasion of the Body Snatchers. So I got to say something about this real quick. I am the biggest fan of the Invasion of the Body Snatchers.
I've never
story.
seen it.
The
Me neither.
original. So there's so much trivia behind the original and everything, but it was Kevin McCarthy. It was filmed as the original cut of the film was about as downbeat as you got. The guy is running out in the street at the end of the movie, trying to warn everybody because the pods are coming and he can't stop it. He's like, "You're next, you're next." It was supposed to end right there, like a completely open-ended ending. Oh my God, it's like apocalypse kind of thing going on. But then the studio thought it was too downbeat, so they filmed book-ended scenes where they kind of have a prologue, and then they have an epilogue that kind of shows that, oh, he convinced people and now the army's going to take care of it. And it's like, oh God. And then 1970, this is one of the rare instances where I say a remake worked. The 1979 version of Invasion of the Body Snatchers with Leonard Nimoy of all people, Jeff Goldblum, and Donald Sutherland is excellent. Is absolutely excellent film. The hairstyles are dated as fuck, and some of the style and then the clothing and everything. But as far as a movie's concerned, it's sort of it's a straight remake. Practically all the events in the first movie happen in this one. But man, the ending is one of the most shocking things. It still gets me, even though I know it's coming. The ending of that movie.
Have you guys seen the documentary on Leonard Nimoy or whatever the fuck his name is?
Yes.
Pretty good. I enjoyed it.
Yeah.
It's on Netflix, I believe.
Right. Now, just to finish up real quick. So there is a new Invasion of the Body Snatchers movie just about every generation. You had the one in the 50s, you had 1979, then you had 1993 Body Snatchers, which was done by Abel, oh God, what's his name? Fuck, he's the guy who did Bad Lieutenant. Abel Ferreira, I think it was. Anyway, that was a really weird take on the whole thing. And then just a few years ago, you had this really bad, like before he was James Bond, Daniel Craig movie just called The Invasion with Nicole Kidman. And every time that this movie comes out, it seems to be tackling a different social issue. Like in the 50s, it was like the Red Scare. You could call it an analogy for the Red Scare. In the 70s, you could sort of call it the end of the hippie generation and the conforming to sort of the conservative upper mindset kind of deal. 90s, I'm not quite sure. There was a whole military thing behind that. I'm just waiting for another remake. I wish that movie would get remade again. It's one of those things that you can remake, but you have to do it a little different every time. But I love even the bad ones. I just like that story for some reason. That's sort of like being replaced kind of deal.
Okay, real quick, I want to answer two things that people have asked about repeatedly. I've never seen 12 Monkeys, and I thought 7 was a pretty good movie, but a little bit predictable. The other one, somebody asked me to talk about Top Gun, and in that, I actually want to ask you guys a question. 80s movies that are like icons today, things like, say, Beverly Hills Cop, Back to the Future, Top Gun. What's your favorite of those?
Jeez.
See, for me, that would be really hard, but I think I would have to go with Back to the Future, just because the original, the other two were okay, but that first one I could still watch over and over again.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to agree with you there, unless I could think of something that tops that.
Scribbles, did we lose you? Oh, there you go.
No, I just figured that I blabbed too long. It's time for
No.
No, you're good.
80s movies. Lost Boys.
Yeah, good.
That movie, it had, I mean, it's cheese somewhat to look at now, obviously, but there were so many things going on in that movie that actually that, or, well, I don't know if that even stands up as one of those classics. You're talking about like Top Gun, really like showcase movies. There's a lot of movies from the 80s and the 90s that are big to me, but probably weren't big on the stage. Like Flatliners, love.
Oh yeah,
Flatliners.
Flatliners was pretty good,
and they're making a sequel. Oh God.
Of course they are.
Yeah.
What about the Last Boy Scout?
Oh God,
yes,
that was written by
good.
Shane Black, same guy who did Lethal Weapon. Underrated as fuck. God,
Oh,
that
yeah,
movie is so
I
good. The
love that
opening
Dean wins.
The
Yeah.
opening of that
Again, I'll
movie.
kill you.
God, the opening of that movie where the football player runs down the field and shoots the gun at the guy to get the touchdown. And for some reason, I thought that's how that game should be played.
Real quick for the chat, people keep bringing up Star Wars. We are not discussing Star Wars tonight. That'll be discussed Saturday at 8 p.m. on this channel.
Yeah, and I will not be here because it's trash.
It's not the only thing we're going to talk about.
Oh, okay. I might show up then.
Okay.
Full Metal Jacket is an amazing movie too.
Yeah,
It's like
yeah.
Full Metal Jacket. Yeah.
Full Metal Jacket's like 2 movies in one, which
Oh, I know what I should have said before. The Karate Kid.
Oh, yeah. Good one.
I mean, as far as like seminal movies of my era, The Karate Kid was like the shit back then. Yeah.
See, for me, I like the second one more just because the little Asian girl in there I had a crush on.
Oh.
Um,
Oh, Who Framed Roger Rabbit?
that was a good one, yeah.
Yeah, you can fuck off with that one.
That's one I
Okay.
can't watch now as an adult, but I
Yeah.
loved as a kid.
Caddyshack. Speaking of comedies,
Absolutely. Good
yeah,
one.
Caddyshack's awesome.
That's a good one.
The second one sucked.
Oh God, yes. You know, there's a story behind like how much they had to bribe Chevy Chase to show up just for like the 3 scenes he was in.
I don't blame him. Who was it? Jackie Mason?
Oh God, yes, Jackie Mason. Oh, that voice.
Oh, that little. Oh, surprised Gutenberg's not going off about the little Jew.
Who? Wait, what? Sorry, I was watching
Do you know who Jackie Mason is?
Jackie.
Did you ever see Caddyshack 2?
No. Only the
Oh,
original.
you're lucky. Don't watch it. It's shit.
Oh, why didn't I think of this before? We're talking about crime movies and 80s movies. Scarface.
Scarface was. That's
It's another
one to me
movie I
think
fall
is
asleep.
Really?
I fall the
over-
fuck asleep.
Oh man, that's such an epic movie, and they're unfortunately remaking that one too.
I liked it, but I way overhyped in my opinion.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
it's
think
definitely style over substance, but man, there's just something. It was like this. It was like an epic movie to me. I always thought like a Lawrence of Arabia kind of like sit through, and there's just so much going on, and to build such a world kind of movie, and I can still watch it and enjoy it a lot.
Do you guys like any like really old movies? Like for me, I can watch Casablanca anytime it's on.
No.
Touch of Evil, Third Man. Oh God, what am I thinking? Oh, my mind's suddenly blank, and there's like 3 or 4 other movies. Oh, Doctor Strangelove. Love Doctor
okay.
Strangelove. God, such a great flick. Paths of Glory with Kirk Douglas. Man, and that was one of Kubrick's earliest movies. You want to talk about an intense movie that still stands up today, and just the cinematography. Holy cats, that's a great movie.
I watched The Shining the other day.
What'd you think of that?
Really good. Have you ever seen a documentary around that?
I've seen several documentaries around that.
How he believed he was involved in faking the moon landing, and he tried to
Yeah.
Oh, Kubrick.
leave clues in The Shining.
There's
I heard Stephen King actually hated that fucking movie.
Oh, he did because
yeah.
they didn't make it how he wanted to. It's nothing
Oh.
like the book.
Yeah, but I heard he was so picky. The color of the car in the beginning opening shot where it's driving through the mountains,
Yeah.
it was different than the book, and he threw a fit
Oh.
about that.
Well,
But
you, know, you,
when you're a perfectionist like that, though, I mean, I could.
you sign the rights away, you kind of give up creative control. So,
Fletch was a great movie.
speaking of Stephen King movies, the best Stephen King movie of all time is obviously Maximum Overdrive.
Oh my god!
That is such a dumbass premise, though.
The
Good for
Green
him for
Goblin,
making it.
the Green Goblin on that truck. I was like, oh my God, it's the Green Goblin.
Oh, when that chick flips out, she's like, "We made you."
Yeah, exactly. That is such
We made
cheese.
you.
Emilio Estevez. Oh my God.
It was what it was. You have to enjoy it for
Oh,
what it is.
it's hilarious. It's an awesome movie.
What was? I'm sure you've seen it, Scribe. Emilio Estevez was in a movie where he was it was called Repo Man. You ever see that?
Yeah, of course. Oh yeah.
That's one that it was never as big as it should have been, in my opinion.
No,
Cringy ass
no.
movie, but I loved it.
It's a cult flick. One that nobody ever talks about that I ever hear of is the movie that he and Charlie Sheen did together called Men at Work.
Oh, that movie sucked.
I know it
It
did, but
did.
it's funny. It's hilarious.
It's fucking horrible. Jeez, you guys are making my brain work overtime here, trying to think of old movies.
Oh well, just be glad we're not playing 6 Degrees of Kevin Bacon.
Oh god, I like Stir Echo.
Oh.
That's about the only Bacon movie I like.
Bacon movie. Stir
I
of
saw-
Echoes is all right.
Real quick, another one from the chat that's come up a few times. I keep forgetting.
Yeah.
Highlander and Dragonheart. I saw Highlander once, and
Ah.
I don't remember much about it. I've never seen Dragonheart.
Dragonheart. Well, the CGI is dated, but it's entertaining. I mean, Sean Connery's voice with Dennis Quaid playing a sort of con man mercenary guy running around. It's entertaining. It's not great. And as far as what was the other one? Sorry.
Highlander.
Oh, Highlander. Lots of style over substance. It was a much more interesting movie before the sequel came out, and they completely changed the backstory of what the Highlander was and turned it into like an alien species and bullshit. And it's like, no, just no. But the first one's entertaining because Sean Connery is a Spaniard. It's just like, well, he's going to be a Russian sub captain in a couple of years.
He can be anything.
He really can be.
Somebody mentioned Flashdance.
Oh, geez.
Horrible movie, but that chick was hot.
Yeah, soundtrack was good. That's about it.
Yeah.
Has anyone brought up Roadhouse yet?
Oh no, I love
God.
Roadhouse.
Oh man, Roadhouse.
Sam Elliott in that is just awesome.
So there's a story, really quick. So the movie Ghost Rider with Nicolas Cage, it's an awful movie, but Sam Elliott was in that. And during the making of that movie, the director and him were out at in between filming. They went to a bar and they're sitting in a bar talking. And then Sam Elliott, he's sitting there and he turns, he looks at some people in the corner and they're all looking at him. And he turns back and he says, "God damn it!" And the director says, "What's wrong?" And he just looks at his drink and says, "Roadhouse." And then these guys come over and like, "Dude, we saw you Roadhouse." Apparently, he gets mobbed everywhere every time he goes to a bar. People want
I would
to talk
imagine,
about
yeah.
Roadhouse. Yeah.
No, I love that movie. That it's pure cheese.
Yeah.
Great movie though.
The larynx pulling.
Yes,
Oh,
yes.
That was brutal.
Oh man. Now, would they do that today? You think they get away with that today?
No.
Well, I don't know. Did you see the new Rambo? Came out like 5-6 years
Oh
ago.
Jesus!
That was fucking brutal.
Well, see, they had a
that was
license for that because it was
brutal.
already an established franchise.
Yeah, it was Rambo. I don't think you could fresh start.
I thought you were talking about the level of violence.
No,
Well-
it's not the mid level of violence. I mean, like there's like Rambo. Okay, the violence was extreme, but it was also so over the top as to be cartoonish. In Roadhouse, when you finally get to the larynx pulling thing, that is, if I recall, one of the bloodiest things. I mean, there's a lot of kicking and punching and stuff, but that's the most violent thing in that movie, I think.
Yeah, yeah.
But they earned it. Like I said, they built up to it, and so it seems much more brutal because everything up to that point was reasonable. But in movies like Rambo and everything, where like from the get go, people are losing their arms and shit. It's just like, I think movies that earn their brutality always stick in the mind more than movies that just sort of go with it from the beginning.
That's a good point.
Yeah, I remember with I think it was Rambo 3. Somebody went through once and counted how many people were murdered, and it was just fucking amazing.
Right? Yeah, one man genocide.
Yes. But you gotta love Rambo because it's just such a cool character.
I only like the first Rambo and then the last movie that came out.
Well, I never saw the newest one, but I did like Rambo and Rambo 3, which is actually such a weird thing the way the trilogy went with naming them.
Yeah. Well, the first one was just called First Blood. It wasn't even called Rambo.
Yep. And then
Because they didn't know it would be a franchise, so.
And then the third one was Rambo 3.
Right. First Blood Part 2, Rambo 3.
Oh, Smokey and the Bandit.
Yeah, it was actually a good movie.
Yes,
I love the original. 2 was First Smokey and the Bandit was the shit.
2 is one of those. One of the first times Hollywood went, "Oh, we just need a remake or a sequel for money," because there was no reason to make that. I did like the first Hot Shots, because
Part 2 was okay.
It wasn't bad. Yeah.
Yeah.
Fight Club was a great movie.
Yes.
I'm not a big fan.
I'm glad they didn't remake it at all.
No. Good God, I hope not. American
Big Trouble
Psycho.
in Little China.
Yeah, Big Trouble in Little China. American Psycho. I
That was
love.
a good movie.
God, what was the other one I was thinking of just a second ago?
Well, while you're thinking, Big Trouble in Little China is another one that could not be made today because it's actually a pretty racist movie.
They're remaking it.
Oh dear God! It'll
with
be
Dwayne
it'll
The
be
Rock
crap.
Johnson.
It'll be crap because
oh yeah,
it was-
it's gonna be crap.
because it's going to have to be too PC.
Yeah. At least as far as I know, they're still making. Last I heard, The Rock is making the remake. I'll double check to see if that's still on, but it's been talked about for quite a while now. I don't know what John Carpenter thinks about it.
What about Fast and the Furious, bro?
I've only ever seen the first one, and I
I've never
actually loved
seen any
it.
of them. I've never seen any.
I like
any
the
single
first
of them.
one. I like the first one. All the other ones are garbage.
Did you like Point Break, the original?
Oh hell yeah!
Oh yeah.
I can't believe they made a remake of that.
I can. They remake Total Recall for God's sakes. You know,
Well,
almost
yeah.
anything.
Total Recall was a great one back in the
The,
day.
the Vin Diesel
Mhm.
movie that I always remember when I think of Vin Diesel, the first thing I think of is Boiler Room, which is a great movie. I
Mm.
mean, it's a great little movie. Giovanni Ribisi.
Yes.
Vin
Who has the
Diesel.
best name ever, by the way?
He does, except he's a Scientologist, which is kind of like. He was also in the Mod Squad. They
And he's a
remade the
creepy
Mod
little
Squad.
dude.
He's a creepy little dude, but he's a really good actor.
Yeah, but Boiler Room was really good. And I always forget Vin Diesel was in that. And you can tell he's juiced since he was in that movie.
Yeah, and Ben Affleck was in it, and Nikki Cat. I mean, really great cast, and it was really. There's something about that sort of like white collar crime, swindle kind of fraud thing that I like when a movie does it well.
If you haven't seen a Gutenberg, it's very much like Wolf of Wall Street.
Yeah, it's
Oh,
kind of
okay.
like a ancestor of Wolf of Wall Street.
Mm. I'll
A
check
good
it out.
movie though. If you get a chance, watch it.
Oh yeah.
For me, with Vin Diesel, and I know this is another one of those heresy things. I love Triple X.
I didn't mind it.
Yeah, it's all right.
I didn't watch the second one. I am looking forward to the third, but I can watch Triple X maybe once a month. I can't watch it daily, but
I like Pitch Black and Chronicles of Riddick and Riddick. I like those movies.
I've never seen any of them.
They're, the first one is surprisingly good. I mean, I saw it in the theater when nobody knew who the hell Vin Diesel was and all that stuff, and I was like, wow, this is really. I mean, it's got a very simple sort of premise, but just the way they pulled it off. And the Chronicles of Riddick just notches it up a couple extra levels, and it's just like it's over the top. It's very. It tries to take the very little bit they sort of hinted at in the first movie and turn it into a whole world building, universe building thing. But
And you guys see Guardians of the Galaxy? New movie. What do you guys?
I've never seen it.
Well, so I'm hesitant to talk too much about Marvel movies because supposedly I'm doing a stream before Monkey's stream on Saturday with Madwoman Muses about Marvel movies specifically. But I thought Guardians of the Galaxy was a watershed movie, not only for Marvel, but for the comic book genre at all. I mean, without Guardians of the Galaxy, you wouldn't have had Suicide Squad. Guardians of the Galaxy proved that
movie
at least
sucked, by the way.
well, yes,
Yes, it
that
did.
movie sucked. But the Guardians of the Galaxy proved that Marvel could take even the most obscure of their properties and with the right tweaking, turn it into an ensemble, popular, well-made movie.
Well, yeah,
And
at
it was
$100
amazing.
billion too.
Well, yeah, exactly. I mean, no one would have thought. I mean, if somebody said Iron Man, so everybody has some idea of who Iron Man was. You say Guardian of the Galaxy, you have to be a complete Marvel nerd to even know what they're talking about. But they
Yeah,
turned
that's
it into
true.
gold, and I think that shows that. I think not only was it a testing bed for Marvel to see, okay, how deep can we go into the vault and still make a profit if we're talking just bottom line stuff, but also can we turn this into something good? And that spurred on a Suicide Squad. There's other movies that are coming out.
I was
that are
so
kinda like that.
disappointed in that. I'd heard such great things, and I watched it, and I was like, "This is shit, guys."
I like well, as we talked about before. I have very little faith in DC. The way they've set it up, unfortunately. So very briefly, Marvel had the brilliance of setting everything about how that universe is laid out to one man, Kevin Feige. Kevin Feige
Yeah.
is the head of it, right? With DC, they put all the power into multiple hands. So you had multiple cooks, and they're all trying to do different things at different times. Some people thought it was Zack Snyder, but then it was like the executives and all this other stuff. Because Iron Man did so well, Kevin Feige could say, no, I'm going to be in charge of setting up the storylines and making sure that everything fits together in this big puzzle piece. You know, we hire the director, we give them the script and say, okay, all you got to do is make sure that by the end of your movie, the characters are in this position so that this piece fits in with the next one. Other than that, go nuts. And that's kind of how it works. And they've had that situation ever since. DC and Warner have no fucking clue what they're doing.
Yeah, they just threw out all of their names and said, "We're going to make these movies on these dates."
Yeah.
Real quick, somebody asked why, what made me decide to do this stream. I know Scribe is a movie buff, and I used to be. I'm not as much anymore, but I thought it would be a great topic to chat about. And why tonight? Because I was bored. Speaking of Guardians of the Galaxy, what about the movie Howard the Duck?
Oh my God.
George Lucas's biggest turkey.
That movie was so bad, but when I was a kid, I loved it.
Yeah, it had duck boobs.
Yes.
Oh
The
my God.
first 5 minutes there were duck boobs. I just thought that was amazing.
Here's something that was never quite talked about. The Punisher.
Oh God, I could
Which
go on
one?
forever.
Well, I loved the Dolph Lundgren one, the first one.
Oh, how
Really?
could you?
Really?
I loved it. Well, okay, I was a fan of the Punisher comics since they came back in like
yes.
87.
Yes.
When it was first debuted, I believe. What was it? 86, 87, Scribe. I'm sure.
Well, Punisher Unlimited series, I believe,
The
was
original
87.
Punisher.
Yeah,
Yeah.
87, 88. But yeah, but back when Punisher could be written and they could do shit that was brutal.
Absolutely. And then the Punisher movie came out like I want to say 90 or 91 with Dolph Lundgren.
Mhm.
Yes.
And then they remade it in 2003 or 4 with that other dude who did a great job. Who is that actor?
Oh, Thomas Jane.
Yeah. Well, yeah, that's the 2005 one or
No.
2002, 3, 4 one.
Yeah,
right?
it was Dolph Lundgren, Thomas Jane, and then Ray Stevenson.
Now they have the Shane dude, that Netflix series.
Yes. I have problems
what's
with the
the name of that?
Netflix version.
Why? The Shane guy from The Walking Dead.
Yeah. So
You don't like it?
No, well, it's not. No, he's great in the part. He looks the part. The problem I have with the way that they laid him out in that one is that they gave him a moral escape. They made the Punisher be someone who has a bullet in his head that is affecting his brain.
Oh,
The whole idea behind the reason why the dynamic between the Punisher and Daredevil in the comic books was so good is because, save for the way that they deal with crime, they're both just regular human beings. I mean, yeah, Daredevil's got his little superpowers and stuff, but effectively speaking, they're just regular guys trying to protect their neighborhood or do the right thing. The difference is that they come down to Daredevil won't kill, Punisher will, because he understands that you don't come back from this. Once you've done this kind of stuff, the only way to solve it is to take him out. Whereas Daredevil, of course, is a lawyer and all that kind of thing.
Yeah.
When they take the Punisher and make him brain damaged, when they give his urge, motivation to do what he does a moral escape, it completely changes and I think ruins the character, because then it's not a matter of, because the Punisher was always a character that I loved to watch, but I couldn't agree with him, you know? It's like one of those guilty pleasure kind of things where, like, yeah, there's a part of me that wants to like take him out and vengeance and all that, but at the same time it's like he's a mass murderer.
I don't think you were supposed to like him.
Well, that's the thing. And
well, he came from a time of anti-heroes. The
Yes.
mid 80s was big on anti-heroes.
Yes, and what they've done with him now is they've made him sympathetic and they've given him a moral escape. Now, maybe they'll write that out by the time that the series comes in, or they'll give some other explanation. But as it stood with the introduction of the character, I think everything else about how they did him was pretty good, but that one part totally changes the character, and I think in a bad way.
Carrie Ann said something in the chat that made me think. John Wick, that movie should be how the Punisher should be portrayed in the Netflix series.
Yeah, actually.
Somewhat, yes. Yeah, not as stylized and not as sort of like a professional, clean cut kind of thing. But
as far as it not giving a fucks, is
right.
The character himself, yeah.
Yes.
I actually did not care for John Wick. It was okay, but there's like zero plot to that movie.
If you want to see like the best gunplay in a movie, watch Equilibrium.
I thought it was for an action movie. If you can get around there not being much of a plot. I mean, he's killing a whole bunch of people over his goddamn dog.
Hey, man, I love my dog.
Well,
I love my animals too, but you can't kill, half a town because somebody killed your dog.
Yeah, as far as like gunplay movies, you've got Equilibrium, John Wick, and one that people don't talk about much, Shoot 'em Up with
Never even heard of it.
Oh, it's oh God, I'm blanking on his name right now. He's a very famous actor. He's British. You know him, Clive. Fuck, I am blanking. I don't know why, but anyway, if you can
find
find
too much shit in your brain, dude.
It's true. Oh God, I'm full of it, man. But if you can, it's not a very old movie. It just came out a few years ago. Clive Owen. It's called Shoot 'em Up. It has the thinnest plot ever, but it is the the guy who made the movie sold the movie on the animatics he made because he plotted out every shot of the entire movie and showed how he would do it and everything else. And they just basically made the movie as he storyboarded it. And it is one of the best, if you just want to see like gun action movies with zero plot and they know it's got zero plot and they're just having fun with it, it's a great flick.
See, I don't mind movies like that if they don't even try to have a plot, but John Wick tried to have a plot with the damn dog and his car being stolen.
But it was his wife. Didn't his wife die?
His wife died, and she left him a puppy.
Hey, man, maybe he's already on the brink, and the puppy pushed him over into mass killing psychopath.
You know what?
Well, he was already a psychopath. I mean, he's not a sympathetic character at all.
No, there's a movie that did that better, where it had a relatively thin motivation for the character, but it was a great flick. Payback with Mel Gibson, because it's like he got betrayed by his partner and his wife, and he had his 70 grand stolen from him, and so he goes back and tries to take down the entire outfit for his 70 grand. Like 70, that's it, 70 grand. And throughout the entire movie, there's like, seriously, and he's like, I just want what's mine. You know,
now that,
it's just like,
now that Gutenberg has said it, John Wick should have been the Punisher.
Yes.
If they would have just killed his wife at the beginning, it could have been the Punisher.
Yeah, I Thomas Jane, as with a love for the character and the way he went into it, is as far as I'm concerned, he is the best of the Punishers thus far. I still like the Dolph Lundgren. I have there's bits of the Dolph Lundgren movie that I like.
I fucking hate that movie.
I don't like the fact that I don't like the fact there's no skull. They don't put a skull on his chest. Makes no sense. But Louis Gossett Jr. is in it, and there's a couple of really good funny lines, and some of the imagery is enough Punisher-esque for me. Thomas Jane did it. Yeah, go ahead.
At that time in the 80s, a lot of action movies like that always went Asian for their bad guy.
Well, do you know why that is?
Because they'll work cheap?
No, because they have to be able to market it to an Asian audience.
Oh yeah, I guess.
Because when you got a movie that's like The Punisher, that is like low budget, it's going to have a very limited release. They have to cater to the international market, and one of the easiest ways to do that is the international market with the highest population.
Somebody's raping my childhood in the comments here. The 21 Jump Street movie, if they hadn't have called it 21 Jump Street, I would have had no problem with it. But it's another one where they took 21 Jump Street was actually a really good show.
It was.
And it could have made a really good dramatic movie, and they went campy with it, and it pissed me off.
Right.
Fucking stop raping my childhood.
Yeah. Thankful they haven't done yet, but I am just waiting for the day that they do. Magnum PI.
Oh my god.
Oh yeah, that'll come.
Because I am amazed given everything else they have done. I mean, they made Miami Vice. Now, thankfully, Miami Vice has its problems, but at least it was done by the guy who did the original series, and
it wasn't a bad movie.
It wasn't that bad, and it was done seriously.
It was done like a long episode, really.
Yeah. Now, but some shows, the one show that I'm amazed they have, like I said, they haven't touched is Magnum PI. Magnum PI would be so, you could turn that into, if you did it right. I mean, they've done The Equalizer.
Well, I
was okay with Denzel Washington, but they're doing a sequel to that too. But Magnum
Wait,
PI
that was based on the TV series?
Have you ever seen The Equalizer?
I didn't watch the movie. I didn't realize it was based on the show.
Dude. So the Equalizer, it starred Robert Woodward. He was like an ex MI6 agent, sort of doing good, that kind of thing. If the opening to that show, when you get a chance on YouTube, you can find it real quick.
I've seen the show.
Okay, yeah. The opening to that TV show is, as far as I'm concerned, one of the best openings to any TV show ever. It still sets up this grim, dark, scary expectation of what's happening and everything. As a kid, it creeped me out every time I watched it. I love that show. But yeah, The Equalizer is based off of the TV show of the same name.
I didn't realize it. You know what one I'm waiting for would be Knight Rider.
Oh, well, they've remade that a couple of times on TV. They had a TV movie of that not too long ago where they tried to make a series out of it, I believe.
Remember they had
Val Kilmer was the voice of Kit.
I loved Knight Rider growing up, and it's such a stupid thing. The car had an evil twin,
Yeah.
Yes. Oh, speaking of which, Quantum
He got
Leap-
pushed. I'm sorry. He got pushed
Yeah.
into the sand pit. Remember that?
The what?
That's when his evil twin was born. When Kit died and they shoved him into like the quicksand. Remember when quicksand was a thing in the 80s?
Oh yeah, quicksand was
Oh,
everywhere.
Yeah, that was always the neat plot.
Everyone was dying of quicksand in the 80s, just in case you guys were unaware. But the Kit car got stuck in quicksand and it killed him.
Yeah, I just
I
remember.
don't remember that.
Yeah.
Oh, how dare you.
Magnum PI, Quantum Leap is the other one that I'm amazed they haven't touched.
I
yet.
love Quantum Leap.
Quantum Leap
I
is a
hated
great
the
show.
end of that.
Well, how could you end it?
Oh, you
Well,
talking about the series or the movie?
The series.
There's no Quantum Leap.
There's
movie,
no
thankfully.
movie.
Not yet.
Thank praise Keck.
Yeah.
No, because at the end
how
of the
could-
series,
yeah.
they tell you outright that he never gets back, and they didn't have
Right.
to do that.
Right. They never gets back. Yeah. The end of that series was so abstract and surreal because
Mhm.
it was always a question throughout the entire thing. It's like, well, is Sam moving himself through time, or is it God? Is he setting right what once went wrong, kind of thing? And then of course you had like the evil leaper that showed up in like season 5 or whatever.
That was just kind of dumb.
That was kind of dumb. But I mean, I always liked the open-endedness of that much more. I mean, you didn't like it, but I thought if they had to end it, I don't see how they could have ended it more. I don't think there could be a satisfying ending to that. Like he just jumps home one day and it's done. It's like
No, I don't even think he had to jump home. Just don't put that out there that he never gets back.
Okay, well.
What a great premise, though, that was.
Oh, it was
Yeah.
great. And it just like it was basically a running anthology. It has an amazing way to do it too.
Huh.
Airwolf. Well, there's one.
Oh.
What do you think is the best TV show that came from a movie,
Best TV show that came from a movie.
or the other way around? Because for me, I mean, MASH is obviously a good one.
Hot Lips.
Hot Lips Houlihan.
Best TV show from a movie.
Now, was that the Korean War, right? That was Vietnam era.
That was Korean, yeah.
That was Korean.
Yeah. Well, it was actually about the Vietnam War set in Korea.
Oh, okay.
As far as like the most recent thing, there's at least one or two that I'm not thinking of right now, but the most recent thing I can think of that was good was Hannibal.
Okay.
As far as coming from a movie, or at least being inspired by, it was basically taking like the movie but acting as though it doesn't exist and telling its own story, but taking the characters from there.
Stargate was pretty good.
Stargate is a fan favorite. I never got into it. I don't hate it or anything, but I never got into it.
I like the movie far much than better than the series.
You know, the series is why there's no sequel to Stargate.
Well, I just think too many times when they try to go from movie to TV, they fuck the characters up so bad. That's one of the reasons MASH worked so well, is because they didn't.
Mm-hmm.
They kept them pretty much the same. But you don't see that as much anymore. They tried to do it a lot in the 80s.
I watched Event Horizon the other day.
Oh, Event Horizon's great.
Yeah, it doesn't really hold up too well.
I still like the actors. The actors they got for that were just It was just so much fun to watch. I mean,
but to go back to your Prometheus thing, they have no real character arc.
Not all of them do.
No, like two of them do, and the other ones you're like, oh, this person's dying.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. Individual characters they did better with than others. I mean, obviously, Dr. Weir had the biggest arc because he's the villain, and then he had Miller. The guy that does Trauma, the guy who was like split open and cut down the middle and all that.
Yeah.
I mean, Jason Isaacs, the actors in that were just excellent. The mood was great. It was at the time. It was right up there in my book as far as like just brutal violence, like a Hellraiser movie. It was
that's exactly what comes to my mind. Hellraiser.
Yeah, and it's just got a lot of great set. The only part of that movie I hate, but I love to hate, is the one actor in there who plays Baby Bear, Jack Noseworthy, because his name, Jack Noseworthy, always gets me. And secondly, the only thing he ever did of note before that was an MTV sci-fi drama series called Dead at 21. And it was like some kid who was like got a computer in his brain like Daryl, and he had until his 21st birthday to solve the problem or else his head was going to explode. It was
Did anybody bring up The Deer Hunter?
No.
We haven't. That's a hard movie for me to watch. That one's a little too emotional.
Yeah. But
that's brutal. That for me, it's very much like Oh God, what's a war movie? You guys talked about it earlier.
Platoon, Full Metal
Nope.
Jacket.
Full Metal Jacket.
Yeah.
I have trouble watching that one.
What was that? One movie I really enjoyed that a lot of people seem to hated. The recent Matthew McConaughey movie. Fucking shit. I had it
Mud?
tip of my tongue. No, it had to do with outer space and whatnot.
Oh, Interstellar.
Interstellar. I fucking love that movie.
It was.
I haven't seen it.
It was a bit too convoluted, and the actually, you know what the major problem with that movie was for me
Tell me about
is that the leading or the primary relationship that you see for 3 seconds in the beginning and made all the difference at the end was the father-daughter relationship, but they never establish it. There's nothing in that movie that sort of says why or how that their connection is so strong that this thing happens. It just
Well, yeah, it's a single father raising 2 kids on a farm. The Earth's going to shit. He's a fucking engineer of some sorts.
No, I know the plot. I'm just saying is that
I know, but
for the ending to have the impact that they wanted it to have, there needed to be a couple more scenes of just showing what this connection between him and her was before he left.
See,
that's my major complaint.
That's one movie that could went another hour longer, maybe to explain that kind of. Even though it was like a 2.5 hour long movie.
Yeah.
Now I haven't seen it, but I do want to say this based on that. If you have a daughter, like the movie, Armageddon.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah.
The end of that movie makes me, a grown man, cry every time.
It's a great movie.
Because when his daughter is talking to him,
yeah,
it just fucking crushes me every time.
Sure.
So I can see where they could have got away with that.
Mm-hmm.
Not like I said, I haven't seen it, so yeah.
It did have an Armageddon point in there. I'm sorry to cut you off though, because you need to watch it because he's traveling through space and the time on Earth is running slower than it is him being out in space, and so he's getting these video messages sent to him, and he's seeing his kids growing older in front of his eyes while he's not really aging.
Oh wow.
Yeah,
so,
because of the time dilation.
Yeah, so he sees his son at when he leaves, they're like 10 years old, and then he's out in space for like 3-4 months, and then all of a sudden they're 20, and then they're 30, and then they're 40, and they're sending him video messages, and he's staring at the screen crying.
Yeah,
kind of like the Armageddon moment.
Yeah,
not even seeing it, y'all will make me tear up right here because I love my boys, but my little girl, there's songs I hear that make me think of her, and I will start crying like a little baby. You can get away with that if you got dads in the audience.
Yeah, I've heard similar things from fathers. I know I'm not a father myself, so I couldn't say, but just as sort of like in the absence of that relationship in my life, just looking at the movie objectively, they didn't the ending, like I've said with some other things before this, you have to earn the impact that you're trying to get with scenes like that and connections like that, and there's a lot of things about that movie that are fun to watch. It's really interesting. The science is neat. The visuals are really neat. It's not too long.
I agree. There are some things missing. There are some things missing.
Armageddon absolutely earned their scene at the end too, though.
Yeah,
I mean,
because they spent the time to establish the relationship between the father and the daughter. Yeah,
him chasing down AJ on the oil barge with the gun.
Yep,
that still makes me laugh every fucking time because that'd be me. My daughter's grown, has her own child now. But if I ever caught her in the act, that motherfucker would be dead.
Plus, Bruce Willis nails it in that fucking movie.
Oh, he does so well.
Yeah, it's a fun movie.
Yeah, I love a movie where you take the lead character and you absolutely for certain know that no one else could have ever played that role.
Yeah,
and I think Bruce Willis, you could have not replaced him and made the same movie. In my opinion.
No, I agree. There's a few movies like that come to mind. Godfather, absolutely. Pacino and as not Pacino. Who played in Godfather
Marlon
2?
Brando?
Played the older.
Yeah, Marlon Brando.
No,
Brando.
in 2, not 1.
De Niro.
De Niro, thank you.
Oh yeah, De Niro.
Nobody else could have played that part. I hate reading subtitles.
Me too.
But I hate it. I don't want to read a fucking movie.
Oh,
that's weird because I really enjoyed the Pablo Escobar series, and that was almost all subtitles.
Yeah, that was good. Narcos.
Yep.
Yeah. Narcos. Yeah.
Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, I still haven't seen season 2 of that.
Ooh, it's good. It's good.
Well, I felt like they finished up what they really needed to tell us in the first.
They did, but they're actually going to go into the other cartels now that took over for Pablo Escobar, took over from him.
Yeah.
So it's going to be, I think it's not the Medellin, it's the Cali cartel, which was a real cartel that took over the cocaine trade after Pablo Escobar.
Right.
So that's going to be season 3 of Narcos, because at the end of season 2, spoiler alert, this happens in real life, so fuck off. Pablo Escobar died at the end of season 2.
Just an aside real quick. If anybody's interested in like really good documentaries about the cocaine trade in Florida at that time and the cartels and all that, Cocaine Cowboys, and even though it's a guilty pleasure, Cocaine Cowboys 2 is pretty good. The other thing too is that they made 2 versions of Cocaine Cowboys. There's the original, and then there's like this recut version that uses a lot of the footage of the interviews they did that they didn't show in the first one, and it's a whole different movie, and it's amazing.
That's
you said something there that I want to ask you guys about. Spoiler alerts. When I was a kid, I never heard anybody talking about spoiling movies. Nobody gave a shit. You still went and saw it. I don't know anybody who saw Empire that didn't already know the big twist at the end. I don't want to spoil it for anybody who hasn't seen.
Yeah.
But, I don't remember anybody giving that much of a shit. And for me, I don't really care. Is the movie good? I don't care.
I try to stay away. So if it's a movie I care about, I completely stayed away from the big ending of Force Awakens. Not to get too into Star Wars, but I had no idea until I saw it. I like being surprised. I like seeing the twist. In M. Night, the good M. Night Shyamalan movies, I like having the opportunity to try to figure it out myself without somebody telling me ahead of time, and most times I do. But yeah, I just stay away from it. If I see an article that says, "Oh, we just saw Logan," and I just look away. I mean, it's the simplest thing in the world to avoid spoilers. Now, if somebody comes up right to you and says, "Oh, by the way, did you hear blah blah blah?" Like, okay, but most times these days it's all on the internet, and I can just not look at it. But I like being surprised. I like watching a movie fresh. I mean, I hate trailers that give away the whole movie in its trailer. It's like I don't want to know all the plot points. Just the best trailer I ever saw was The Fifth Element, where it just showed this big giant 5 out in space and just said it must be found, and that was it. And I was like, I got to see this. I don't even know what it is, but I got to see it. I'm like, okay.
What about you?
For what? Oh, I really don't care either. It's just everybody always says that, and now it's kind of entered into my vernacular.
Yeah, no, I don't mind a general talk. I think it's so much of a thing for people nowadays that if a movie's good, I'll watch it. I don't care if I've already heard the plot or not. It doesn't affect my viewing pleasure.
But then again, like there are certain things, like when I was watching Breaking Bad, I don't know, 3-4 years ago, and when the black dude, someone told me he got blown up at the end of season 3, and I got pretty pissed. Okay,
well, see, I think it's a little different for like episodic television.
Yeah, but even if it was a movie, I was super hyped to see.
Yeah, I guess.
And someone told me, yeah, but I know the little things like, oh, they find this, I understand the little plot points that don't mean shit. But I got almost physically fucking angry with this fucking dude. He told me he fucking died at the end of season 3.
Yeah, when you're talking about like a soap opera, and when it's not a self-contained thing, it's an ongoing narrative, and you're like waiting for the next cliffhanger to drop, kind of thing. Yeah, you don't want to hear that.
You know what really sucked for me? The movie The Sixth Sense.
Yeah.
I figured out the end of that in the first 5 minutes of the movie. And it's not because I'm smart. It's because I saw that exact same plot on an episode of Are You Afraid of the Dark that my daughter watched.
Oh, shit.
Yes, and the clues were exactly the same. Like, fuck, I already know what's going on.
There's 2 movies that I figured out earlier. The first one was called Kiss the Girls, which was this murder mystery thing with Morgan Freeman and Ashley Judd.
Yeah, it's based on a series of books.
Yeah, I figured it out by the opening credits.
Oh, gotcha.
Because it said Morgan Freeman, Ashley Judd, somebody, Carrie Elways. And I'm like, wait a second. Carrie Elways is a much bigger actor than to be listed like 5th. He's the killer. And gotcha. I was like, well, shit, that kind of gives it away. The other one was M. Night Shyamalan was The Village. Okay. Because early in the movie, I thought, they're in some kind of private reserve. That's what this is. That makes it. But then I thought, wait a sec. They'd have no way to explain a plane. Throughout the entire movie, it's got to be something else. Then it's got to be something else. And then you get to the end, and then M. Night Shyamalan shows up as himself in his own fucking movie, and he puts that throwaway line, and they're like, "Hey, remember when they had to redirect all the air traffic around this place?" I was like, "Oh, fuck you!" I just about left the theater. I was like, "Fuck you, you hack fucking writer, you suck!" And oh man, I hate that.
Geez, Scribe's getting animated over
Oh
here.
man, I hate having my intelligence insulted. I hate it.
I hate when fucking Quentin Tarantino shows up in his fucking movies all smug. Oh, I hate that fucking shit.
Well,
like, I know his first movie, Reservoir Dogs.
Yeah.
The opening credits, when they're all walking in slow motion and it's playing that. Yeah, and then it pans to him and he's just like, yeah, I made this movie. Suck my dick, fag. Like, I hate Tarantino. He can eat my ass.
I've never seen him talk outside of his movies, like an interview or anything, but every character I've seen him play, I would punch in the face.
Yeah,
absolutely. Absolutely.
The only director that did it right was Hitchcock. He had like 3 seconds of walking across the camera, and then that was it. You never saw him again.
Yeah, Stephen King did that too. He was just there for like a half a second.
Oh yeah, he did a little cameo or something. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean that's cool, but fucking Tarantino showed up all fucking like a blatant narcissist. Like, yeah, I want to be in my own movie. Look at me. Fuck off,
man. But he's a great True Romance. God, that was such a great. He wrote that movie. It was so good.
That was a good movie.
Yeah, and he wasn't in it, but that was such a great. That scene with Dennis Hopper and Christopher Walken. Oh
yeah.
Oh God, it's so epic.
It's like Italian or Sicilian, huh?
Hey, Sicilian. You know what I know about Sicilians? Let me tell you something. It's just like holy shit.
He's like, that means you're part nigger.
Yeah. Yeah. You see, you're an eggplant. And they're laughing their asses off. They're like, I love this guy. Give me a gun.
It's like, I'll have one of those Chesterfields now.
Yeah. Oh, such great dialogue. And Gary Oldman as a Rastafarian drug pimp. It was so good.
What movie is this?
True Romance?
I haven't seen it. I'll have to watch it.
Oh, dude.
I don't get to watch many movies anymore. So it's
epic. It's written by Quentin Tarantino, directed by Tony Scott. It stars everybody and their brother, like Brad Pitt before he was famous. It's got Bronson Pinchot in it.
Wow, Balky.
Perfect Street. Yeah, it's got Balky in it as a coked out Hollywood wannabe. It's amazing. It's got Val Kilmer as the ghost of Elvis. It's so cool.
It's a fun movie.
Somebody said Stan Lee's the ultimate cameo master, and actually the only cameo I really like, the guys who made Airplane, they stick their mom in every movie.
Oh yeah, that's right.
That's cool.
She's the one in Airplane that's trying to put on makeup. I can't remember all of them, but I always watch for her in their movies.
Oh, that's kind of like Sam Raimi. In all of his early movies, he always had to stick his old car in there somewhere. So, like the car that Ash is driving at the beginning of Evil Dead, that car appears somewhere in all of his movies when it makes sense. Like it was the same car that Uncle Ben was driving in Spider-Man. It just, his car shows up. I love that.
Whatever happened to Robert Stack? Did he die yet?
Well, he was in the Beavis and Butthead movie. Doing his voice.
That was a long time ago, though.
That was long. So yeah, he was Elliot Ness in the old
Untouchables.
The Untouchables, and then that was also a good movie, Untouchables.
Oh yeah, that was a good.
But yeah, he did Unsolved Mysteries forever. But as an actor,
I loved all that. That's what
Unsolved Mysteries is great.
It got me hooked on Aliens. I was looking for fucking shit everywhere, dude.
I was prepped for X-Files because of Unsolved Mysteries.
Absolutely.
But after that, I don't know that he did much acting after Unsolved Mysteries. We could look it up, but I don't know that he did much.
I can only picture him in Airplane going, Striker.
Yes.
Pull yourself together. Who was that dude in the background? Was he a famous actor? The guy that always run and be like, looks like I picked the wrong week to quit amphetamine.
Yeah, that's
who is that? Who is that guy?
What the fuck is his name? Bridges. He's Lloyd Bridges. Lloyd Bridges. Jeff Bridges is his son.
Yeah, Lloyd Bridges. Yeah, Lloyd Bridges. Jeff and the other Bridges that we don't talk about too much.
Todd.
Todd Bridges. Yeah, he's dead now, isn't he?
I believe so. Yeah. That whole cast had just a shitty life.
Yeah,
that's different strokes for any of you young people out there.
Different strokes. Mr. Drummond.
Mr. Drummond.
Oh, and the pedophile episode. Oh my God, God! I remember seeing that on TV when it aired, and I felt I was just a little kid, but I felt as uncomfortable then as I probably would now.
But don't you miss all those on a very special?
It was the Maytag man.
Bo
The
Bridges, thank
Maytag
you.
man molested him. It was.
The other Bridges brothers, Bo.
Oh yeah, right, Bo Bridges.
But yeah, I miss those kind of shows. I don't like television as much as I used to, because like Facts of Life, all of those kind of crappy 80s shows, I love them.
Silver Spoons.
Silver Spoons, yes.
Silver Spoons.
That's one that needs to be made into a movie.
Oh God, Ricky Schroeder's still alive. Hire him as the dad.
Yeah, nothing says great movie like Rich White Kid.
Oh, why haven't we had an NYPD Blue movie yet?
Gay.
The
How about
Jeffersons.
all in the Family, which spun off the Jeffersons. I still fucking watch. I still fucking watch it.
Yeah, good show.
Let's see. Car 54. Where are you? They made a movie of that. It's awful. God, but Fred Gwynn, man, the Munsters.
Oh, I love the Munsters.
They did a TV movie of the Munsters not too long ago, and it was Eddie Izzard as Grandpa.
Really?
And, yeah, it was. They floated it as sort of a movie / pilot for maybe a TV series, but it didn't obviously do that well, so there was no series. But
right.
Yeah, but the Munsters or now the Addams Family. There's one that transferred really well, and because Raul Julia and what's her name that oh fuck, I forget her name all of a sudden. Angela.
What the heck?
Angelica
Houston.
Angelica Houston, yes. They carried. That was a great movie.
I just miss like all of the old shows. If you go back and watch a lot of them, somebody just put WKRP in Cincinnati. A lot of the shows from the late 70s and early 80s could never be made today.
No.
Archie Bunker, All in the Family,
Taxi, Barney Miller.
Yeah, they are just so horrible by today's standards.
Yeah.
All of the little snowflakes would just trigger right the fuck out.
I hate to do it, guys. I got to go to bed. It's 11 o'clock here, and I got to get up at 5:30 in the morning. So
yeah, it's 2 a.m. here. I didn't even realize.
Yeah, time flies. I love talking movies. I can do this anytime. So anytime you want some movie nut, just let me know.
I like pretending I know what I'm talking about.
You actually held up well. You said you didn't know, and you jumped in with a lot of stuff.
I have my niche of movies, pretty much the 80s and like newer movies. I skipped the 90s completely.
Gotcha.
So I have a little bit of knowledge.
We should find a way to maybe structure this a little bit more next time. Like pick a genre, or like maybe do a movie watching thing, like then come and review or something. I don't know. Just think about it.
Yeah, we can find a way to narrow it down. This was just I was bored. Let's talk movies. So,
yeah.
Guys, thank you so much for watching. We're going to call it a night. Say bye, guys.
Later.
Bye, guys.